The following Toku Podcastu contains spoilers from both past and present tokusatsu, anime, manga, movies and other related media. If you do not wish to be spoiled, we suggest turning off the podcast now. Otherwise, please enjoy the show.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Tokusatsu Podcast, the best show about tokusatsu you probably never heard of. As always, I'm AJ, that's Jay.
Remember that time that guy died playing Berserk?
Wait, what?
Remember that guy? You got the, back in the 80s, some dude set a high score in Berserk and then died, immediately afterwards.
Oh, yeah. I thought you were talking about, someone, died playing the Berserk, hack and slash game. I'm like,
no, I mean, somebody would die playing that game. That game fucking sucks.
Oh, no, that's the last game you know what, Jay, that's the depressing thing. In some, there's probably a statistic out there that's that was someone's last game.
Statistically speaking, yes, probably, and
that is depressing.
Very depressing, yes.
I waited 25 years for this. Just immediately croaks. Ugh. So speaking of video games and dying, what a great segue.
Yeah.
We're talking about on the 5th anniversary, funny enough.
More or less,
Kamen Rider. Well, no, actually, it is the full-on 5th anniversary of the ending, I think.
I think it ended a little closer to September, but in terms of the year,
one cares.
We're a couple months off, but otherwise, 5 years.
So yeah, we're on the 5th anniversary of the show. We have decided to basically go back and re-review it because I had a feeling, and I will be upfront about it. Before I started watching the show, I actually watched our old podcast on it, and I would like to go and say right now, if 2016 me was here, I would slap the shit out of him.
Well,
because he's a fucking liar.
I guess I'm glad that I didn't go back and watch that, mostly because I'm the one who edited that, and it sounded like complete fucking dog shit. I'm kind of embarrassed about how bad it was, honestly.
Well, now that's why we're here.
Exactly. But no, I tried to avoid pretty much any real influence on the show rewatching it. I didn't really follow along much with what AJ was posting. I didn't go back and watch any of our old episodes or reviews. I tried to avoid any kind of old discussion topics or anything like that. I just complete ignoring everything but the show, going back in, watching it how it was when it was airing, trying to get as much of a fresh opinion on it as I can. Of course, it's a difficult, rewatching a show, even 5 years later, rewatching a show, because there's still significant, you still remember stuff.
There are bits and pieces, yeah.
I still remembered a lot of the, the major moments, so I think...
you know what, funny enough, I didn't, actually. I remembered the big shit, like we'll get into, Dangerous Zombie and shit. I remember the big shit, but some of the stuff that's, major to the actual plot, I actually didn't remember that well.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff I did forget happened, but I think, the overall, as I'm watching the show, I'm starting to remember, okay, I know this story beat happens, 3 or 4 episodes later from now, and I'm starting to remember this is where the story's going to go, and I'm noticing, plot threads that, oh, okay, that didn't go the way I remember that was going to go, or, I remember people were hypothesizing this or that, and, they go...
Oh, yeah. We'll get to those.
We'll get more into that, so...
So as Jay was also saying himself, and I'm going to say basically the same thing, I kind of came into the show with a very weird mindset, because I remember the last time I saw the show was the last time we saw the show, when we last reviewed it. Long ass time ago, right after Ghost. I came in with a very weird mindset of, alright, you know what, I'm going to pretend that Ghost didn't happen, and then I'm watching the show for the first time. I am going to just fully pretend that this isn't a bubble, basically. And, Jay, I have one question to ask before we get into the actual show proper.
Shoot.
And that is, was this show cut short? Or was it intentionally short?
I don't know. I don't believe so.
Because if it was intentionally short, then this writer really fucked up in a lot of places.
See, I'm not entirely sure. I know when the show came out and it ended at 45 episodes, everybody was kind of like, oh, that's weird. What the hell was up with that? And then we never really got an answer or tried to figure it out.
To be fair, I can kind of see why now.
Yeah.
Like, so let's get into it first. So, premise of the show, literally game aids. That's what is happening.
It's weird watching the show. A few weeks after a fucking year-long global pandemic, watching a show about global pandemic. Yeah, it's a little weird.
Especially with how many little plot beats basically mirror what happened, and I'm just like, oh god,
yeah, like
that is creepy.
I know, right? Like, especially like in the second half of the show when
oh god,
with the fucking with the oh yeah, hey, don't do this thing, go on quarantine, and everybody just fucking ignores it, boy, that's not gonna relate to real life at all, huh?
Oh Jesus. So basically the plot of the show is Emu, basically, who I thought was getting when it first came out, I thought he was going to be just Ryotaro 2.0, which is not basically true.
No. Yeah.
He's a doctor who got run over as a kid, Ex-Aids, and there you go. That's the show. So let's talk about Emu because
there's a video game virus that exists that makes video game characters real and quote unquote kills people.
The game flu.
The game virus. And our protagonist, who is a klutzy, wimpy dork, who is also,
which they forgot about.
They did forget about, but I don't think they didn't necessarily forget about it. He evolved. I wouldn't say they forgot about it because there's character evolution there. But
sure,
the point is, our main protagonist, a dorky, wimpy medical intern who just so happens to be the best gamer in Japan, by sheer fucking coincidence, is selected to become a Kamen Rider to fight against the video game virus and help save the country. That's basically the show in the broadest terms.
So let's talk about Emu. And I actually want to let you go first. I want to see what you thought of him.
Emu he's a weird character. Like you said, I remember early on when he's kind of got that wimpy, I don't want to necessarily say high-pitched, but he's got a very, wispy voice, kind of like Ryutaro.
That's basically why I thought.
He's kind of passive. He's not necessarily naive. He's definitely overly optimistic. And, of course, they do the constant, oh, I'm a klutz, oh, I'm gonna trip, comedy shit constantly. Whoa! They do the fucking cuckoo bird noise fucking 6 times in a minute.
Oh, Jesus.
But then
we'll get to the comedy.
Then when he actually goes to fight and he starts gaming, his personality changes, quote unquote.
Yep.
It really varies from episode to episode when he changes. Because, in episode 1, there's a very noticeable change where he goes from being this very, passive, timid, oh, I'm really nice and caring and I just want to help people, don't hurt me kind of guy, to basically being, a full-on sicko mode gamer, psycho gamer, basically. He's just,
based as fuck.
Pretty much, yeah. He goes,
he becomes very sweaty,
yes,
as we like to say in gaming terms.
He's very rude. He's very standoffish. He's got his ego pretty much shoots up through the roof. I think the most obvious one is that Japan with their the masculine pronouns, basically, boku and ore. He switches that, which is that's the easy one. Fucking Yu-Gi-Oh did that. That was an easy that's an easy trick. You don't get points for doing that. Or he changes his manner of speaking because he starts being more of a rude person. He starts being more standoffish most of the time. Sometimes he doesn't really change, but he just starts shouting most of his lines. And then other times he's borderline psychotic with I think the best example of how his personality differs is between Snipe's debut, where he's basically the same exact character when he's transformed, except he's basically just shouting his lines and actually he's not cowering like a little punk. And then you go to Dragonite Hunter's debut, where he fucking manipulates the rest of the riders into a battle royale, and he's basically telling them all, I'm gonna kick all your fucking asses, and if you want the power-up, you have to kill me, basically. Like a complete psycho. And I think that's a great thing, where he's like, I like the idea of, oh, his personality switches when he's fighting, but they don't capitalize it on enough. It's very inconsistent in the earlier episodes, and later on his real personality develops to a point where they don't really need the gimmick. And granted, the show literally does away with the gimmick because of plot reasons, but we'll get to that.
Yeah,
another.
It's kind of, he's kind of weird to me in the sense that, like, there's plenty of episodes where I really like him. Like, I really like the ideas behind him. But it's like you said earlier, he has a very naive outlook on certain things, which I get it. He's technically, I think they remember correctly, he's like 24 in this show.
Yes, based on the
it.
timelines, he's like mid-20s essentially.
Yeah, and I can understand, the naivete of someone like that, and in a doctor's thing. But like, there are certain points that he does come off a little, I hate to say it, but a little too naive, a little too much. All right, dude, I get it, but you're a fucking doctor. Come on. You know this. You should be prepared at least somewhat mentally for this kind of stuff.
Yeah, like,
you shouldn't be acting like a high schooler.
Like, a lot of it early on is, I think, Laser is another significant one, where Laser is constantly fucking bamboozling everybody, and Emu falls for it every single time, even when Laser isn't trying to bamboozle him. He gets bamboozled. And Emu, like a clown, every single time he's just like, okay, I believe you, Kiria. Let's go ahead and do this. Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying. Like, there's so many times in the show where it kind of does come off a bit too much. Granted, and I will give the show this credit. In the second half, it's almost like a completely different writer did this, because he does change a lot to the point where I'm like, that how would I say, that complaint of mine kind of almost dissipated right towards the end. Granted, it was replaced by a couple of other things, sure, but it kind of dissipated, and it was to the point where I'm like, I do kind of like Emu, but there's points towards the end where it's just like, I kind of feel like his character, how would I say it, I guess peaked at a certain point, and it was just kind of a static character at that point, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand what you mean by that. His character progression kind of halts, like, the last third of the show, and it's fine. That's usually around the point where your main character's progression is, that's at the character's peak, but
sure.
I kind of get what you're saying, where it's like, he should probably be reacting to things in a certain way, but they kind of really, it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah, like there was a very stark, weird vibe that I got from, like, how he treated something like killing, like a character we'll talk about later, Pallad. I'm going to keep calling Pallad because that's how the pun works, assholes.
Well, no, but AJ, his name is supposed to be Paradox, because that's what his writer form's called.
People don't shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
I don't give a shit. Anyways, but like, there's a very stark difference between how he would treat something like Paradox's death or Pallad's death, and then how, like, he just kind of suddenly starts snapping at certain people towards the end, like, especially with Dan. I mean, I get it with Dan, sure, but like with Dan and shit, where like he'll snap at them and they'll be like, all right, we're fine, we're cool now. It's like, it kind of feels a little weird, but I think that has more to do with the show's pacing, which we'll get to when we get to that. But overall, I don't think he was bad. I just think there were some blocks missing, I guess I'll say it like that.
No, I definitely get what you mean, where he'll have conflict with a character, and then because the show is just so lightning fast, he'll resolve the conflict way quicker than feels natural. It's not that their interactions are unnatural. It's, the conflicts that he has feel natural with the characters that, are presented. It's just that everything just kind of gets wrapped up way too quick.
Well, yeah, because the show, I mean, Well, again, we'll get to the pacing of the show later, but like the show feels like it's in fast fucking forward the entire time.
Yeah, but no,
it's actually kind of crazy.
It is crazy, and I think that's a big reason why the show was popular. But we'll save that for when we're talking about when we're done with the characters, because we've got a fuck load of characters as we always do.
We got to talk about
but no, I do really like Emu. He's not like. I wouldn't say he's in like top 5 writers, but he's definitely one of the better writers that we have in the franchise.
He's one of the better ones of the last 5 years.
Yeah.
I'll say that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Which is kind of sad to think about, but
unfortunately, yeah, of the back half of the second phase, I'm trying to use these fucking shitty made up fan terms, and they always destroy my tongue.
No, the shitty made up fan term would be Neo Heisei.
Oh shit, you're right. Yeah.
I just say PD for post decade.
Fair enough. Yeah. Moving on. We have Hiro,
Surgeon Boy,
Brave.
Who comes in as a genius and leaves like an idiot.
Well, isn't that always how it is? Isn't that always how it is?
Yeah, that's kind of what they always do with the secondary writers.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Which is weird because if I can say right now, I kind of really liked him. I really liked him a lot. Like from the beginning, I get it. Whatever. He's supposed to be the antagonistic secondary writer, but I liked him. He was cool. He had this aura of him. He had this character about him, and like the actual reason behind why he does what he does was honest. I mean, for lack of a better word, very reasonable. I liked it. He was a good character. It's just towards the end, they kind of made him into a fucking idiot.
Yeah, I really like Hiro. Kind of reminds me of Knight a little bit from Ryuki. He's very much the stop having fun guy, as I always like.
He
to
literally
describe
steals
it.
Knight's fucking cape.
Yeah, he stole the fucking cape too. He immediately he has conflict with Emu because Emu is a shitty dipshit intern who shouldn't be here fighting the video game viruses, even though he's the world's best video gamer. Which is something that always kind of seemed weird to me, is that, like, why the fuck does he hate Emu so much, where he's, like, granted, sure, he's not nearly as qualified as a doctor as he is, but he's still a fucking doctor. He still acts like a fucking doctor. His conflict never really felt supernatural to me. If it was like Emu wasn't a doctor, he was just some fucking asshole gamer gremlin who got brought in because he's so good at video games, I think his relationship and reactions with Emu would be more natural. Because then
when you think about it, like, why would you be mad at a guy who's so fucking good at his job?
Exactly. But and then it would make more sense because, well, he's not a doctor, so if he doesn't give a shit. If Emu was just, his genius gamer.
If Emu was more like Pallad.
Yeah, exactly. If he was just more like his actual gamer persona, their relationship would make way more sense. But then Brave just kind of comes off as like a dick for no reason. He's like, oh, you actually care about your patient? Fuck you, you stupid nitwit. Like, whoa, okay, yeah.
Simpleton caring.
Yeah, I mean, that's a nice criticism of the medical industry, isn't there? Yeah, doctors actually give a shit about you. Wow. I mean, I know that's true and everything, but geez, guys, that's a little...
How dare you care for your patients?
Takahashi, that's a little red-pilled there, dude. Come on. Anyways,
are we just getting a really weird insight to the Japanese medical system?
I mean, maybe not. We didn't really get into the police system with Drive, so I mean, maybe.
I mean, it was a cop show, not a Yakuza show.
That's a good point. Yeah. But yeah, Brave is, again, he's the overly serious dickhead character, and I'm not going to say, again, that he doesn't work or he doesn't make sense, but it feels a little unnatural, especially early on. I think later on, once Emu starts learning more as a doctor, his relationship with them makes a little more sense, where he's like, okay, you should know what you're doing by now, you're still a fuck up or whatever, but I think
he's being a harsh teacher.
Exactly. Yeah, I think that relationship works better where he's an overly harsh teacher because he knows Emu can do better and he keeps making obvious mistakes and stuff. And I like that idea. I like that concept for his character later on in the show.
And so we can't talk about him without talking about the second half of him during the second half of the show when it comes to when Kronos comes in. His
obligatory dead girlfriend, of course.
I still like the idea that instead of killing the dead girlfriend, we just start off with her fucking
I
dead.
know, right? Like, usually usually you skip a step
cut out
there.
the middleman.
Just cut out the middleman. So that also establishes his relationship with it's gonna be one of these fucking days, isn't it? With the third rider, Snipe. So Hiro's girlfriend died before the show happened because she got the gamer virus, and the only rider that they had at the time, Snipe, fucked up and got her killed. And that's why he hates Snipe, and why Snipe is such a douchebag. So there's a lot of conflict between those two, and their relationship at least feels natural, where it's like, yeah, I'm still salty as fuck that you got my fucking girlfriend killed because you're a shitty doctor and you're a shitty fighter. And Snipe is just like, listen, I fucking hate these video game fuckers. I want them to burn. I don't care about you or your opinions.
Fucking buggies.
Yeah. And they start to explore on it more later on the show, where it's like, oh yeah, he has been the writer here the longest. He has been a writer for like 6-7 years as opposed to everybody else. It makes sense that he's super jaded and like depressed about everything because like he's been living with the shit way longer than they have, and he's like, you guys don't fucking understand anything that's going on. You are so fucking surface level hopeless. It's ridiculous. And I like that relationship too.
But see what I was more referring to is basically what happens towards the second half when we get the not obligatory but the generic second rider heel turn.
Yeah.
Which is really weird because we were doing it for a little while there, weren't we?
It was, in terms of like every show, it happened like.
It happened in Drive. It happened in Ghost. And it happened in.
It technically happened in Gaim. Happened in Ghost. Happened in Drive. Happened in here. Kind of happened in Build, although that has an excuse of the fact that he was, technically the main villain the entire time too, as well. It get a little weird. Zio did it like 4 fucking times.
It did it every episode.
It did it and then undid it and then redid it again like 3 times.
But yeah, so we got the obligatory heel turn, and usually I don't really mind that. I don't really mind secondary rider heel turns because usually there's a pretty good reason around it. But like I was saying in the server, Hero's reason is fucking stupid because the way they go about it kind of makes him seem like he just didn't think about anything. Because, yeah, I guess you could say in hindsight, but when you really think about it, technically, they could have done the same thing Hiro was trying to do, only without any of the bullshit. To the point where they kind of pushed themselves into a corner eventually. Well, Hiro pushed himself into a corner where he was just like, oh shit, I literally did go a little too far, now I can't fix it. It's like...
See, I would disagree. His motive is that by that point, we already knew that everybody who was killed by the virus would just... They weren't technically dead. The backup of them was stored. So we knew that. But by that point, we knew that the only person who technically could do that was whoever was in control of Chronicle, which was Masamune. So it made entirely sense that, Brave's entire motivation is fighting to, avenge his dead girlfriend. So, if you work for me and help this game keep going forever, I'll let your girlfriend come back. And it's like, okay, it's an understandable motive. And of course, immediately he realizes he fucks up because, I got fucking played like an idiot. And of course, that plays into what we were saying, is that Brave kind of becomes a huge idiot later on.
Well, see, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's an understandable motive, but there's so many... Like, the show itself presents so many ways that he did not need to go about it this way, even before Masamune came up to him, that I'm just like, you didn't need to betray anybody. There was like 5 different ways by the time you betrayed them that you could have gotten your girlfriend back. There was really no need for this. Especially if you could have just gotten the Bug-O-Visor too out of fucking Masamune's hands. Fuck shit! Poppy had one, so you could have just used hers. There was really no reason for the betrayal.
I mean, sure,
Not
but
really.
Did he know how to bring her back? Did he know how this was going to work? Did he know what he was doing? Exactly. Plus, they also say that all the data was hard locked, even if they had the storage things, the proto gashets, they couldn't get into the data. They say that several times, is that even though we have their backups, we can't get to them because Masamune has the key. He has the password to it. And I'm assuming that it's not just necessarily Chronicle. He literally just has the password. So it's
but I don't know if that's a difference between our subtitles, but in the ones that I had, they literally just said they just need Chronicle. They said that multiple times. They just need Chronicle and Masamune's Bug-Visor.
That's fair. I'm sure there's a contrast there with both subtitles and the actual dialogue. That usually happens. But it's another situation where I think that there's something that we're missing, and that's what's kind of influencing both of our decisions, where...
Maybe?
Possibly, because it makes more sense to me because, well, obviously it would make sense that he's being tempted by his dead girlfriend, and I'm sure by that point...
That I can understand, sure.
I'm sure by that point he was desperate enough because of whatever the fuck. I mean, sure, it's a little weird that he does just immediately change his mind because of my girlfriend, but... I mean, it's not necessarily it's not out of left field or anything. It's entirely believable for his character.
It's not. But like, I just think that the way they went around it, when they presented so many different things that could have gone around it, because like, let's say for example, I don't know, that the data was specifically stored with Masamune's DNA. Let's just say it that way. You have Emu with mighty whatever, the big fucking bulky guy who can literally reprogram DNA. You could just do something with that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, when you give me so many options and you don't really try and explore any of them, it kind of comes off as, well, you just kind of jumped the gun here. Like, if they had just shown that Emu tried to do the reprogramming and it didn't work, okay, then fine, I can understand that. Or like if Dan, or I shouldn't say Dan, Kuroto was like, I tried, but every single time I try it, I get hard locked out of it because Masamune put like 50 firewalls. I can't do it. Then that I would be fine with that. But when you don't really try and explain any of that, I kind of think, yeah, you kind of did just jump the gun here, Hiro. You didn't have to try and kill your friends over this.
Yeah, again, I think that's the issue where the pacing is just so kind of fucked. You don't really get a chance of them to explore any alternatives. But at the same time,
that's why I'm not hating on it as much as I usually would, because I do blame a lot of that on the pacing.
At the same time, though, I don't necessarily agree, because I do think it's a natural decision that he would make. You know, it certainly makes sense that, okay, I'm being tempted with the one thing that's kept me going this entire time. I don't really see any immediate option at the end, and it's either that or I die, so fuck it, yeah, whatever. And then again, immediately he realizes, okay, I fucked up, and it doesn't last super long anyways. And I'm fine with that.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I can understand it.
I like that they had him immediately realize I got played like a fucking chump, and eventually just kind of gives up on being evil, which it feels like a natural arc, and it's not nearly as jarring as, say, Go deciding to pretend to be evil for 12 episodes for no fucking reason.
I knew you were going to bring that fucker up.
God, that's what I'm saying. That was so fucking stupid. What the fuck was the point? Like, I'm going to go on a tangent here. What the fuck was Sanjo thinking? Like,
it's called sake.
Like, what the fuck? Like, okay, so Go turns evil and teams up with the Roid Mudes, who he hates and has no reason to team up with.
He's extremely racist against.
But then as he's fighting Chase, we find out that he's brainwashed. Okay, so he's brainwashed, but then he willingly went to go help them. But then it turns out that he wasn't actually fucking brainwashed. He was immune to it the whole time because fuck you. And then it didn't end up mattering because fucking Shinosuke died, and he ended up fucking over everything because the entire time what he was trying to do was save his fucking dad, who ended up trying to destroy the fucking world because he's a dipshit. God, fucking Sanjo, man.
I can't wait till we actually do Drive again. No, but see, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why I'm not hating on it as much as I usually would, because it does it still does make sense. Again, if this show had like 3 or 4 episodes to breathe, where they could have said, oh, we tried this, it didn't work, you know, the options that I was mentioning before, because shit, there was like 4 or 5 options, and if they just said like, well, that wouldn't work because whatever, even just a throwaway line would have been fine. That's why this isn't as egregious as like, I don't know, fucking Saber, where nobody wants to fucking talk to each other even though they have everyone's phone numbers.
Was this a Toshiki
like, you know, it's
Inoue
not,
show? Jesus.
At least with Toshiki Inoue, they at least like vaguely talk to each other. Saber's just like, oh, bro, eat glue, fucking. But with this, it's like, that's why I don't think it's as egregious. I just think it comes off a little flat sometimes, where it's just like, yeah, Hiro, you really did just jump the gun, like literally just jump the gun here. I don't think it's that bad.
I will agree that it does kind of feel unnecessary. I don't hate it. It doesn't really add anything to the plot, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think it's egregious. I just think it's a flat note here.
I liked it, though. I liked it. I didn't really have any problems with it. I don't think it really adds anything to the plot overall, but I get what you're trying to say.
I think if anything, the final scene of him breaking down was probably the best part of it.
Really was. It really it was that nice emotional build up to everything that kind of really paid everything off well. It was good. It was good. He's a great actor. I'm glad he got a chance to shine there.
Yeah. But again, that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna fault the show 100% for it, because it's the writing's problem, not it's the pacing problem, not the writing problem.
I mean, it's a mix of both, but
yeah, but you know what I mean. So let's talk about Sneep, the Sneeps, the sniper boy. Even though he only used the sniper module once,
I don't think That's right. Yeah, he only did like what the
literally once.
So. Snipe is, again, we kind of went over him a tiny little bit earlier on. He was the original rider. He was the original one selected to be in the rider program. And he did a decent job, I guess. We don't really know. And then it came time to trying to save Hiro's girlfriend, and he fucked up, and she died, and that birthed one of the main villains, Graphite, which got him fired and caused him to become... Basically, he became Blackjack. He's Blackjack now. Hair and all. So now he's back, and he bought his way into becoming a writer again. I don't know where he got all that money. I guess you know what? He's constantly looking at fucking stonks, so I guess he's just playing the stock market.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, it's just the stock market, bro.
I mean, there's literally a scene where we finally see him looking at he's got all the charts on his computer, and we finally see him looking at it. It's like, oh, he's been looking at stocks the whole time. I guess it makes sense.
I mean, hey, dude. I mean, that's a perfectly good way to get the stock market, like to get some money going, I guess.
Fair enough. I kind of like Snipe. He gets shafted a bit because most of his backstory is not in the fucking show. This was another thing they were doing around this time, and I'm so glad they stopped, where they would save important information to the plot for the fucking DVD box sets, and they would be a little special in each DVD release, which would have the information that you needed to fucking figure out what was going on. And I do remember this from our original episodes, that we were confused about what the fuck Snipe's deal was, because the show never really explained how or why he got fired. It's just like, oh, he failed to stop the Bugster, and then he got fired. And now that we actually have his backstory, it's a little more complex than that. I like it. I like his backstory as, like, he just kind of got too obsessed with trying to wipe out the virus that he basically ignored every single precaution, and then also he kind of got manipulated a little bit by Dan. That also, it factors things in as well, because Dan's a piece of shit. Yeah. And that's what got him fired. And I like that idea of that he's just been kind of like silently stewing for the last few years, and now that they're starting to come back out in full force, he's going to pick up where he left off, and he's just going to wipe them all out and save the world. And I like that he's very combative with the other writers, because again, like I said, he's the only one who really knows what the hell's been going on this entire time. He's the one who knows the most. This is a brief issue where early on there's this plot line of we've got to stop each Bugster of each specific game because there's only 10 for whatever reason. We got to collect them all, and whoever has them all will be able to save the world or stop the virus or whatever the fuck. And that plot line doesn't really go anywhere and immediately goes in a complete different direction anyways.
Yeah.
So, of course, it's also never explained how the fuck he found out about that, considering they never mentioned it at all during the prologue stuff with him and his backstory. But
that's fine.
Either way, so
to be fair, there was a couple of points in the show where characters kind of just knew things they weren't supposed to.
It's fair enough. I think I like his idea of, I don't really care about teamwork. I'm not going to help you guys. I'm not really helping you guys stop the virus because I want to be a doctor again. I'm just here because I fucking hate these video game monsters, and I'm going to stop them and save the world. Whether I kill myself or somebody else in the process, I don't care. And I like that. I really like his character.
I do too. I like the idea. Like you mentioned earlier, he's been the writer the longest, so he's extremely jaded to this entire thing. And there's something about that I just kind of like. And it doesn't come off as edgy or, too over the top. Like, how his character design is obviously meant to come off as. It doesn't come off as that anyway. And I give it all to the actor, honestly. He doesn't come off as a parody. He just comes off as, I'm legitimately an old man who just hates the fucking world. Which is ironic because he's only in his late 20s apparently.
Yeah, I know. That's so weird. Is like they give him the white hair and he does look older, but then based on the ages of the cast and everybody else, he's probably like 28, 29 at most. But you know what? That's always an issue that comes up with these shows, is that somebody that acts or looks way older than they should be or way younger than they should be.
But yeah, like I do like that idea where it's just like he just has this jaded outlook on what being a writer is, and I really like that. It comes off as just, again, as I said earlier, it comes off as just kind of natural. Like, yeah, you would think like this if you were a writer for 6 years, and these motherfuckers still don't stop coming.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could see that.
And especially, again, after how he got fucked over so hard because he failed, He failed, he made somebody's life miserable, and he made a basically invincible monster, and it's been kind of screwing with him for the last 5 years, and it's kind of ruined his life, being like basically seething about it the whole time, I guess is the best way to put it. And
I like how they don't like forget about that. Like they don't, like sometimes they won't mention it because why would you every fucking episode?
No,
but that's always a thing in the back of his head. Exactly.
They never drop the aspect of he just fucking hates the Bugsters. He just wants them dead. They never drop the fact that he specifically hates Graphite because he's responsible for his existence. He never really drops the fact that although he kind of thinks Hiro's a dick, he still feels bad because he got his girlfriend killed, and there's a lot of conflict they have between the two where it's like,
yeah,
where Hiro just fucking hates his guts, and Taiga also hates his guts, but for completely different reasons, and it's a nice little contrast there, and I like their moments between the two where they have bonding moments where Taiga is basically being the doctor, even though he's technically not a doctor anymore to Hiro, and they got a nice little back and forth. I think it's cute too because they have to fucking share a power up for the entire middle third of the show. They have joint custody of their power up for him. Ugh.
But I like it because it just kind of comes off as, honestly, it kind of comes off more as a more of a main writer secondary writer type of rivalry, honestly, and it's really nice because you sometimes you do get a bit of story with the secondary and tertiary, but not much. But then again, that's what they were doing that also a lot during this time. That is true. Which is really weird when you think about it.
That is true. This was another thing that they were doing a lot for no particular reason. I think out of this show, it works the best. I think Drive comes as a close second, mostly because Drive's kind of comes out of left field for no real reason. and then also has completely insane plot twists come up, and then also they become super gay with each other, which, I mean, listen, it's been a while since I've seen Drive. I don't exactly remember how it went. I remember they became
that
really
was
gay
another
with
thing that was apparently a thing during this era as well.
Yeah, well, homoeroticism has always been a part of Kamen Rider. That's just
true,
that's just general.
But after O's, they kind of just stopped. It's like, all right, this is a little too gay.
O's
and then Gaim was just like, let's throw it in.
O's got a little way too gay, and then they were like, okay, we need to reel it back. And then fucking Butcher being Butcher, because he's copying the script from fucking Madoka, is just like, all right, I'll just make him gay again, whatever.
Man, we really should have either done like O's or Bill for Pride Month, shouldn't we?
Ugh.
Actually, no, we should have done double again. No, but yeah, so I do like the relationship between Taiga and Hiro, because again, it's like you said, it doesn't feel. It's weird when I talk about the show, because it doesn't feel. Yeah, well, it doesn't feel like a show. It feels understandable. Like, yeah, I could totally see a real person feeling this way towards somebody who they think, yeah, it's your fucking fault that my girlfriend's dead. Well, yeah, well, you're a bitch. Well, fuck you too. Like, I could totally, honest to God, see that. And the evolution of their relationship as it goes along, especially towards the end, when, of all fucking things, they decide, all right, well, he killed your girlfriend and he fucked my life over, so let's kill this guy together. Like, I like that build up.
Yeah.
Granted, yeah, sure, they could say like, oh, well, they did this before, but no, that it felt more like
I do exactly. I really do like how they end up kind of burying the hatchet, and after Brave's completely
they bury the hatchet in someone's fucking back.
Yeah, they completely forget half-ass Brave's heel turn, as we discussed. And then they kind of become friends after it, because Taiga fucking takes a bullet for Hiro after Brave basically erases his girlfriend, and they stop. It's kind of a complicated series of events. I don't remember exactly, immediately off the top of my head, but
well, see, I was actually going to interject with the one of the biggest things that I actually did like from Hiro's short, brief heel turn was how much Taiga kind of understood. He wasn't begrudging Hiro. He wasn't being like, "Oh, fuck that motherfucker! I want to kill him."
No, yeah, he like
no,
everybody else was just
like, he's like this.
Everybody else was like, "What the fuck, Hiro? What do you like?" Taiga was the only one who was like, "I completely understand what you're going through. You need to stop
really
though, because
it was actually really cool."
It was, and it's because like he went down the exact same road himself. He's like, "I know what you're doing. I know exactly what you feel. I know exactly what you're going to do next. You need to stop before you make things worse, because I know it's going to go worse. Because I've been there, dude. You need to stop." And
that's what I'm saying when I say like it doesn't feel like a show. It feels like, yeah,
it feels.
I mean,
it feels very
take
natural.
away the Bugsters, take away the writers, take away the sci-fi elements. I could totally see someone legitimately acting like this. Like, everyone else is like, "Oh, you're just a dick now." It's like, no, I know why you're acting like this. I can understand, because I was fucking there, and I was like, wow, what the fuck? How did I forget about this?
I know, and
this is actually really good.
And they have a really cute friendship after that too. They go at Hiro actually treating him with respect. It's like, well, I mean, he's my senior. He's been a doctor longer than I have, so I gotta have to. And
yes.
And Taiga kind of fucking milks it for all it's worth. Everybody makes fun of him, and Hiro's kind of like, he's ashamed of it a little bit, but it's cute. It's very cute. I like their.
I like it. I like it a lot.
Exactly. It shows a different. It's a weird thing, because it shows a different side to Hiro's personality that isn't treating him like a goof. I mean, he's kind of being goofy, but like, I get like we were saying, where the show just
they don't
kinda,
make him a comedy character.
Exactly. It's not like a certain other individual in the show where they just become a screaming mongoloid the entire second half of the show.
I know, fuck Poppy.
I was gonna say Pallad, but that works too.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for Taiga. So should we go to Kiria now, the bike of the show?
Yes, our talking motorcycle friend. You know what?
He do a big bamboozle.
I'm gonna put it like this. I think pretty much everything revolving around Kiria is why the show got as popular as it is. So let's start with Kiria as a person. He shows up. He is a coroner who just conveniently happens to work at the same hospital as everybody. That's fine, whatever. He's kind of this very duplicitous, very sneaky kind of person. He's kind of off on his own plot lines, sneaking around, investigating stuff. It reminds me of... There was something it reminded me of, but I forgot to write it down. It was another show it reminded me of, but either way.
Like the Rider show, or?
I think there was another Rider show, but I can't remember exactly, but there was something I was going to compare it to. Either way, it's not important.
Mm-hmm.
He's basically the one who uncovers the entire plot of the show for the entire rest of the series, and he's the one who figures out everything early on, and I like it too because his entire motivation is his friend got the virus and then died completely coincidentally, and he's kind of like, I don't know what the fuck this game virus shit is. I don't know why they're covering it up. I want to figure this out and avenge my friend, kind of. And I like it because he's a very untrustworthy person, because he's constantly lying, really, for no good reason. I mean, half of it is just so he can get his own power-ups, but then a lot of the times he just lies because fucking whatever. And I like it too, because it's like, it doesn't feel like it's just, oh, I did it because fucking I'm evil or whatever. It feels like him trying to, like, cope with his own mistakes, or like he's trying to cover up himself because...
I mean, he basically spells it out, I think, in his 4th episode in, where it's just like, telling the truth isn't always the best option.
Exactly. No, exactly. I mean...
And I like that idea. I like it because they don't make him see... Yeah, I mean, of course, they make him kind of seem a little villainous, but, like, they don't make him a full-on bad guy. Like, he's just a guy who just doesn't know how to fucking trust anyone. He doesn't want to basically put his trust in anyone, because he's like, the last time I did that, I got him fucking killed.
Exactly. And I like that element of his character, too, where the rest of the writers will kind of just be off, like, oh, here's the monster of the week, let's go save the patient. Meanwhile, Kiria's the one who's actually, like, investigating stuff that's going on. He's uncovering the plot. He's like, oh, here's this weird experiment that Amu just so happened to be involved with, and it had coincided with this, and it coincided with that. Let's see where this goes. And, you know, he's basically the real main character for the first couple of episodes, but he's the one who uncovers the entire plot. It's great. I really like that aspect of his character too. It's a very... I mean, granted, I'm biased. I really like mystery stuff, so I really like the mystery angle of him just kind of like snooping around, investigating. It's really fun. It's really entertaining.
Well, it's because it's also a really well-crafted mystery.
Yeah, it is. I mean, he's trying to figure out, one, where the hell this virus actually came from, because, you know, we've been sitting on our fucking asses for 5 years never figuring out where the virus came from. You would think that would be priority, like, 2 after finding a cure for it, but I mean, whatever. I mean, no, it's not like we'll just have a fucking deadly, horribly deadly infectious virus sitting around for a while, and nobody's just gonna bother investigating it or whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, it's not like anyone's ever gonna accidentally, purposefully, release it.
No, yeah. It's not like anybody's ever gonna, deliberately engineer a deadly virus and set it out on the world because they're completely horribly incompetent supervillains. Yeah. But enough about Dan. Yeah, but enough about Dan.
We are towing the fucking line today, aren't we, bud?
Yes. So, and again, it's like where he's like, "Oh, well, you need to have a special." Well, they always fucking call it a surgery. It's not really technically a surgery. It's more like an immunization. But that's a nitpick. It's like, oh, well, you need this special procedure to become a writer, and it's basically like. It's basically an immunization. You're infecting yourself with the virus to make yourself.
It's like a vaccine, basically.
It's like a vaccine, basically. It's like, oh, that's kind of neat. Oh, one question though: how the fuck can Emu use it? He never got that, and that's
Pac-Man.
Like exactly. And then, well, it was Pac-Man. That was weird.
Literally Pac-Man.
Yeah, it was literally Pac-Man. That movie was so fucking weird, dude.
I know, right?
I still love how they couldn't fucking get Gakusano back, so they just fucking have like random clips of his voice spliced in and that don't fucking match at all. It's super jarring.
Oh, that movie's fucking wild.
Oh,
dude.
It's so wild.
It's even worse too because they got him back literally the next year.
I know, right? God,
like damn.
Oh, that's right. Fucking Tanahashi was in that movie too. God,
He was.
What
He
was
was just some random Bugster.
What was he doing in that movie? That was so
Look,
weird.
man, they never gave him a chance to be a writer, so he's like, fuck it. I'll
sure.
do it.
Sure. Anyways, not the point.
Back to the bike.
But yeah, I really like that because he's like, oh, here's this conveniently placed accident that occurred right around the time that the virus was coming out, and everybody who's involved with it just so happened to disappear. I wonder how involves Emu, and it's like, and he goes on these little tangents, and it's this really fun, entertaining mystery, and it's really the best part of his character too. Doesn't last very long because he
Merry
dies.
Christmas, motherfucker.
He dies 12 episodes in the Christmas special.
Oh, wow. I didn't even realize that. He dies on the 12th day of Christmas.
Oh, my God. On the 12th day of Christmas, my true love brought to me a dead motorcycle on a tree. I tried. I didn't really make that one work. Anyways.
Look, all I'm going to say is Premium Bandai, whoever runs that section of the company, is a fucking genius.
They made a fucking t-shirt of his death. Oh my god!
Do you remember when? I don't know if you remember this, but I'm assuming you do. When they did that T-shirt, people were like, "Oh my god, are they gonna do that for every rider that dies? Oh my god, I wonder who's gonna die next." It's like,
and then
nope,
and then nobody else died. Well, I mean, nope. You know what? I'm surprised that they haven't done that before or after. They made a shirt capitalizing on a character's death.
I guess that just shows how popular he was.
He was. I mean, they had the shirt out like a few days after he died too. It was kind of surprising. I wonder if anybody actually bought it, to be entirely honest. Not the point.
I think I saw, because I remember I looked it up for shits and giggles when I got to that episode. I think I saw a few tweets, a few people on Twitter like, "Oh, I bought my shirt, Rip Kiria," and it was like dated the day that the episode.
Yeah, they fucking had the date the episode aired on there as his fucking death date. Oh my god!
And I'm just like, man, in hindsight, don't you feel like a jackass?
Ugh. I mean, it could be worse.
Great.
I mean, it could be worse. We didn't know he was going to come back because that happened like 30 episodes later.
That is true. But I guess again, hindsight.
Like you don't think that you don't make merch of a fucking character celebrating their death and then, well, okay, I was about to say you don't make merch of a character celebrating their death and then bring them back because they did that with fucking Superman, but that was fucking.
That was in the 90s.
Yeah,
no one does that anymore.
That was in the fucking 90s too.
It's such a it's so good. Like, that's still one of my favorite things that's ever happened in this fucking thing.
And again, this is what I was about to say, or what I was going to say when we started about Laser, is that Laser's death was so jarring and unexpected. I think that's kind of what really kicked off Ex-Aid. Because here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. I think a big reason why Ex-Aid was so popular is because it felt like literally anything could happen. Like, it was the kind of show where,
don't you remember people were like, "Oh, they're gonna kill like people were just joking. Oh,
exactly.
They're gonna kill the bike. Oh, it's gonna be Dan."
Exactly.
And every time we thought the dumbest fucking thing could happen, it fucking happened.
Exactly. That's exactly what I was about to say, is that it was the kind of show where even the most completely baffling, asinine prediction could happen. And every single time, it was the craziest thing when it happened, and you never knew what to expect next.
It was exciting.
People were joking about Laser dying the second we got the fucking catalogs, and we saw, one of the main characters turns into a motorcycle. Well, they're gonna kill him off early on, so they have an excuse not to use the motorcycle. And everybody was like, ha ha ha, that's a great joke. Imagine if they actually did that.
Oh my god.
And then they did, and played it 100% seriously.
But see, it's kind of funny you say that, because I was going to say pretty much the same thing, where Ex-Aid, up to this point, it kind of feels like a show that doesn't really start until Kiria dies.
No, exactly my problem rewatching the show. It was like, I was rewatching the first, 10 and 11 episodes, and I'm like, oh my god, was this really this boring? Did we really like this that much? Because I remember, I had that dread. I was having that dread sit in by like episode 4 or 5. And I'm like, oh god, no. This is not even remotely the same as how I remember it. And then we get to Kyria's death, and the show from there goes completely off the fucking rails into Crazy Town. And I'm like, as I'm slowly like, okay, no, this is closer to how I remember it. This is right. But again, it's different because, like, again, I remember everybody loved Ex-Aid from, like, episode 1. It was super popular for, like, immediately. And again, I don't know, I'm rewatching it, I'm like, that might have just been, like, everybody was so brain dead from watching Ghost for a year that they took literally anything. But
and again, like, but see, I think that kind of works to the show's advantage when you rewatch it, because, okay, yeah, sure, whatever, the first 11 episodes are kind of, ugh. But then the fucking moment the legit second dangerous zombie comes on screen and kills Kyria, it's like, oh shit, this was the rising of the roller coaster. We didn't even reach the fucking top yet. We haven't even taken the fucking first plunge.
We did not know what we were getting into. I think I remember the reaction because you see the preview and you see Dan get a new form and you see Kyria crying in the rain with Emu over his body, and everybody's like, "Oh god, they're not actually going to do it, are they? Oh god, we didn't joke this into reality." And then they did it. And I remember everybody was like, "Oh my fucking god, we made this happen by joking about it." I remember.
And let's not forget the biggest thing about this. They killed Kyria for no fucking reason other than haha on the filler Christmas episode.
in what is otherwise a completely pointless episode about fucking Christmas. In the last, 6 minutes of the episode, they kill him off, and it's played 100% serious.
It's like they did that to fuck with people.
They must have. They must have done it to fuck with people.
It's so
I love it. It's so... I think that's kind of what got everybody sold on Ex-Aid, is because here you have a writer, you have Takahashi, who up to this point had done basically fuck all. He had done, a couple of episodes of Go Busters, and, a little bit of Wizard or Forze, I think, and he did nothing. He's a fucking nobody. And so here he is with Ex-Aid, and early on, again, everybody really loved it because, oh, well, this is completely different from Ghost because shit's happening and I understand it. All right, this is fun, and I remember really catching on. But I think it was this moment here when Laser was killed in a Christmas special, and it was played 100% serious, and he didn't come back immediately, and we all assumed he was going to die because they fucking made merch about it, and they literally they eulogize him pretty much in the show. And I think that was the moment where the show kind of clicks and everybody's like, oh, we're in for wild times.
It was, again, to pardon the pun, it was an exciting time.
It was
an exciting time because you were just like, what literally can fucking happen next?
And I think that's one of the problems I have rewatching the show, where a lot of the fun came from just seeing what the fuck would happen next. I would watch an episode, and, obviously I hadn't seen the show. I didn't, we had the previews, so we kind of know what was going to happen with the previews. But then something completely unexpected or insane or random will happen, and it's super shocking, and it's like, oh my god, what the fuck? And then you have to wait a week to watch the next episode, and here you have people like what the hell's gonna happen? How is this gonna get resolved? Who's gonna do this, whatever. And I think that's where a lot of the fun is lost, where shotgunning it 5 or 6 episodes in a row, and you lose the ability to kind of discuss what's going to happen next, because, and again, rewatching it too, where, okay, well, you kind of already know what's going to happen next, so the impact's kind of lessened, but I think that's why Ex-Aid was as popular as it was when it aired, because nobody knew what was going to happen next, and the show kept showing that anything could happen. And I think that's why Ex-Aid got as popular as it was.
Well, I guess from Valkyria and that, we got to talk about Dan. We have to talk about fucking Dan the Pizza Man Kuroda.
We got to talk about Danger Dan the Zombie Man.
Fucking this fucking guy. You know what? I'm going to say this right now. I legitimately expected him to be way worse than he was. He got really bad towards the last 4 episodes. Like that last stretch, he was like, holy shit, someone tell him to calm the fuck down. But he was not nearly as bad as I remember him being. Dan
Kuroda and his character have caused untold consequences on tokusatsu as a genre.
Oh, well, I mean, if you put it that way, fuck.
I mean, look, think of how many shows, just not even Kamen Rider, how many shows in general copied his shtick immediately afterwards. How many shows have had the serious, edgy villain become a complete fucking joke, screaming and yelling like a goddamn lunatic?
Well, see, I don't watch Sentai or Ultraman, so I can't tell you. I only know from Rider, and I know that they've done that every single
They did that with
time.
G. They did that with Build. They did that with
Zio.
I was gonna say the one that came after Ex-Aid, but that was Build. I had a fucking brain fart there for a second. They did it with Zio. They did it with 01. I haven't watched Saber, so I can't comment on Saber.
I'm trying to think. Did they?
They did it with Kira Major a little bit. I was gonna say Ryu Soldier. I didn't watch Ryu Soldier. They've done it so many times in the last few years, and everybody misses the point of what made Dan popular is that he got caught on because he was just fucking around. His actor Iwanaga was just dicking around and goofing off when he was on camera.
How far can I take?
Exactly.
He was literally pulling a Jeremy Irons from Dungeons and Dragons.
It was.
How far can I go?
He has admitted several times, in fact, that basically everything that made Dan popular was just him fucking around and seeing what he could get away with, and continuously pushing the envelope. Granted,
and see, that's the thing. Like, go for it. Sorry.
Granted, when he comes back near the end of the show, that's definitely them deliberately trying to play it up, and you can tell because it's nowhere even remotely as entertaining because they're trying to force it to be a thing. And it of course doesn't help because he is still kind of like playing it up and just kind of doing whatever the fuck he wants when he's doing his bits. But they're trying to force him to be this goofy character, and it doesn't work because it's not natural.
Mm-hmm. And see, it's weird because, like, I still really like his character up till he gets his continues. And when that happens, I mean, basically when he comes back, like, legitimately comes back after he dies.
Yeah.
When that happens, it's not, I wouldn't say a dip, like falling off a cliff. It's more like rolling down a hill, where it's just gradually just getting dumber and dumber, and this is just getting too far. And then that's it. You're done. It's
not as jarring as, I mean, let's use the first comparison, Build, where
I was about to say
Gentoku goes from being a grim and serious like loner character to being like, I've got a fucking goofy t-shirt that says shit on it, and I'm gonna talk through my t-shirt like a complete jackass between the span of 2 episodes.
No, it was one.
It was one episode. That's right. His fucking dad dies, and then immediately,
don't you downplay my PTSD, Jay.
Immediately he becomes a fucking wacky literally t-shirt man.
And it was like, what the fuck? So, but that's the thing. That is not Dan. That doesn't happen to Dan. It's a gradual thing. And the thing is, I put that solely on the fact that and then it's funny because we'll get to Pallad as well. When we were talking about redemption arcs, I forgot that Dan legitimately did have a redemption arc in some sort of way. And it was shit. It was garbage.
They did until they decided that they didn't want him to have a redemption arc, and they completely forgot about it. Which
it was like, what the fuck happened?
Which, granted, I'm I'm kind of glad that at the end of the show, he's still a complete fucking psychotic supervillain, and they did not redeem him or release him or do anything. He's just still completely insane. I like that. They do the redemption thing way too often, so I'm glad that they just had him just be like, I'm still evil. Granted, they tried,
that's the thing.
But
see, that's the thing. They go from he's evil, like he's under control of Poppy, and he has to be evil to my mom died of Ex-Aids to I'm just actually so fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
my mom died, even though I'm the one she died because I'm a fucking psychopath. Yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, what was the point? Like, there was that entire chunk of episodes where they're trying to make him seem sympathetic and he's not that bad of a guy. Sure, he probably killed hundreds of thousands of people, but he's not that bad of a guy. It's like, who cares? I don't care. He's still a bad guy. He's still in the background shouting shit like, I am better than you and I am God.
He's literally calling himself God. Bad. Yes. And here's
nothing he does is making me feel bad.
And here's the thing, like, that kind of downward spiral worked better in the first half before he died, where he starts off as he's kind of this background schemer. He puts on like a nice face, and he's this really kind of like nice and kind and caring individual up until we find out that he's evil, even though we already knew he was evil beforehand because his fucking rider form was named after his company. I mean, really, what the fuck were they thinking? Granted, we weren't supposed to know that was his name until they said it in the show, because I don't think they even mentioned it on merch or anything until he debuted in the show. But,
yeah,
as we've discussed, we still had leaks back then, so we knew his name was Kamen Rider Genom, so we already knew that he was going to become the fucking villain. Which doesn't mean that it's not necessarily surprising when he de-transforms in that episode, and it's like, oh, haha, I was evil the whole time, after having this really, like, kind of, like, introspective, heartwarming speech with Emu, and it was a really kind of fun scene, too, of, like, seeing Dan on the roof, knowing in hindsight what the fuck he's going to become, having this really, right? Like, calm and introspective conversation with Emu about, like what it means to be a doctor and what it means to save people and help people, and like morale, like having an actual moral discussion between the two that isn't Dan screaming like a goddamn spaz. And I think the down, like, it's go for it. And then once we find out that he's a villain, he kind of stays that way because Laser immediately figures out that he's a villain and basically keeps pressuring him into getting revealed. And the mask starts slowly slipping until he just reveals it. And when Dan reveals that he's a villain to everybody, that's kind of when the ball starts getting pushed down the hill, because I think it's the moment when Dan starts calling himself the Game Master is when his character is dead. That is the end point of Dan as any kind of serious character, because he's just gone completely irreversibly into Crazy Town. And it's not too bad, because he's still
entertaining.
Yeah, he's very entertaining up until his death. He can still have like a normal scene. He's still like, he talks at a normal volume, but his ego starts getting played up. His delusions start getting played up. He starts becoming more and more psychotic and unhinged, up to the point of literally giving himself a deadly disease, which I'm surprised he didn't already have up to that point, because he can use a belt, but whatever. Either way, he starts becoming more and more and more unhinged, and it's fun, it's entertaining, but then it's like, you get to the point where, he's doing his fucking evil laugh for no real reason, and he's doing, he does the fucking Chun-Li axe kick on Emu, and then he's in the episode where he dies, he's running around, and he's just like, fucking like a complete psycho.
Look, I'm not gonna lie. That scene where he's on the bridge and you just see Emu and Poppy talking, and you can just hear him laughing in the fucking background.
Exactly.
That got me pretty fucking good.
I mean, no, it's great. Again, that's what got Dan popular, is that a lot of that was just Iwanaga just fucking around. He's just he's just such an entertaining bad guy, because he's just what is the most evil thing that I can do in the moment? and
kick a man.
I'm just gonna fucking like axe kick him for no good reason because I can.
See, what my problem is the fact that once Dan, and again, I'm not going to call him a good guy because technically he's not treated as a good guy even in the show.
No.
But once Dan technically starts siding with the heroes, that's when his psychotic nature kind of becomes a little annoying. Because if he was still just straight up a super psycho villain, I don't think he would have nearly been as bad because, one, you don't spend as much screen time with the villains, so his screen time would still be limited. And two, he's a fucking psychopath. Of course he's going to go fucking ham. So it makes sense. When you have him in a serious scene with Emu and Poppy, like, fucking talking about people dying, and you just have him in the background going...
You've got him contorting, or like he's making weird noises, and he's just kind of like muttering to himself like a fucking psych... Exactly. That's the problem, is that...
If he was a villain, it'd be better.
They brought him back, and they tried to copy what made him popular deliberately, because what made him popular was just his actor ad-libbing shit. It was just him being like, I'm just going to have fun being a supervillain character. And they tried to make that a natural part of his character, and it didn't work. No. And then they also... One, didn't stop him from still ad-libbing, so he's on top of being a total psycho, he's pushing it more and more and more and more, and it gets to just overall completely just obnoxious levels.
Again, like the last 4 to 5 episodes, I mean, I should say, like, from the moment Hyper Muteki is introduced, that was like, okay, the director has to tell this guy to calm the fuck down.
Yeah.
He's like, someone needs to tell him, dude, settle the fuck down. You're ruining the scene.
Like there's the one where Muteki gets a fucking save state power up, and Dan's just fucking like leaning back at like a 45-degree angle for no good reason.
But see, at least that was still kind of funny.
I mean, it was, and
that was still kind of funny.
There's a fun little
scenes where he's just yelling. It's like, Jesus,
yeah, like
dude.
where they're trying to fix the power up after it gets fucked because time travel. Why does every show have to involve time travel, and why does it always make the show worse? Not the point.
Fuck you.
And he's like hissing. He's sitting there like crouched on his chair, like tapping away one finger each, screaming. He's got a like novelty-sized enter button and all this stuff.
I saw that too. That got me like, what the fuck?
I mean, granted, I'm not going to say that I didn't laugh at any of his stuff because he's still fun. It's just it is so drastically different than the character as he was introduced, and it's weird because you don't usually see like flanderization like this of a character in a show this short. If Ex-Aid was like 5 fucking seasons long, and Dan went from being how he was early on to how he was in the later half of the show, from season 1 to like season 4, okay, that much I would understand, because that's understandable that they would start to play it up by then. But within the span of like 30 episodes, not even 30, like 10 episodes from his death and revival, that he completely just like doubles up on the insanity it's just jarring.
And again, it's like you said, like, there are still points where he's going insane and fucking wild that I still kind of chuckled at. But again, there are just those little, there's just little minor things, you know. And again, it's not a mountain, it's a molehill. But when you have like 17 molehills, that starts to add up, you know.
Yeah,
so
you can almost make a mountain out of those molehills if you
will.
And again, I think the problem is that, like, I don't want to talk bad about Iwanaga because he's a wonderful actor. He's a brilliant actor.
Iwanaga's a great fucking dude.
The man is literally a doctor. He is literally the only person in the show who's a doctor. But
not only that, but like, if you've ever, like, this is just anyone listening, if you've ever followed him on Twitter, this guy is stupidly insane. Like, or stupidly genius. Like, he's a fucking smart dude. Like,
he's literally smart. He's literally Mensa certified.
Yeah. It's like, what the fuck?
And here he is screaming like a goddamn mongoloid while he's got no shirt on and he's fucking contorting like a freaking zombie. And that's the thing that I love about him, is that, again, he is just here to have fun. He is just enjoying it. But there are points where he should have been showing restraint. And I'm not sure, again, early on, I understand most of that was ad-lib. Later on, I know it's kind of a mix, and it's hard to tell what is and what isn't. I don't want to necessarily say the stuff that's funny is what was ad-libbed, because, I mean, usually you can kind of tell what was and wasn't meant to be part of the scene, because, like, again, where I mentioned him doing the stupid lean, and you've got, like, Laser kind of, like, doing a side-eye at him, and he's just, like, he kind of smiles briefly for a little bit before he goes back to looking at what they're supposed to be looking at, like, okay, like, that's probably him ad-libbing or whatever, but, like, a lot of the other ones are just, like, you can't tell, and you can't really, like, criticize it, because he's just already naturally such an obnoxiously goofy character that it's you can't tell, and it ruins the show and it ruins the character, because it's just a mess. It's just a mess.
It is, but see, and again, that's what sucks about the character as it is, because there's so many points where I'm like, I love this character, and then there's other points where I'm just like, this show suffers because of him. And I hate to think that way, because a lot of that shit is still fucking entertaining, dude. So much of it's still entertaining. Like, I'm sorry, but like the entire little bit where he literally works himself to fucking death, that just got me good. I'm just like, yeah, I feel that, dude.
Like that, feel that. Exactly. Like, that's kind of funny, and the extra live thing is kind of obnoxious.
We'll get to that shit. Oh my god.
I mean, listen, look, I won't lie. I bought the figure because the continue pipe is funny, but it's such an obnoxious gimmick. Anyways.
I mean, to be fair, by that point, death in the show meant fuck all.
I mean, no, yeah. By that point, it's like, oh, hey, Graphite can just come back because fuck you. Because fuck you. Yeah. They don't even give a good answer. It's like, oh, we can just revive whenever we want. Then what the fucking point of even bothering to stop them then? Why the fuck, like, what?
Trust me. So, actually, you know what? We'll finish up the characters and then we'll get to the story. So the next one, I guess we talk about... What did we talk about, Jay? Did we just talk about the last writer in the show?
Poppy?
Or, well... Yeah. Oh my god, that's right. She's a fucking writer.
She was a writer for like 3 episodes.
Oh my god. So, wait. There was Poppy, Kronos, and Pallad. So who do we talk about first? We talk about Poppy. I guess she's like super short.
Yeah, I guess we could talk about her first.
She killed Dan's mom. Moving on. That's literally all she's here for.
She's kind of annoying early on. They've got a weird gimmick with her where it's like, oh, I can just... The show does a weird thing where the show doesn't fucking explain that she's a Bugster until like episode like 13. So you're just like, okay, what the fuck is she doing? Why is she in a video game? What the fuck is going on here? I mean, granted, it's not like you can't figure it out, but it's still like, what the fuck is this character? Why is she here? She's kind of obnoxious. I never really liked her, to be entirely honest. I never really enjoyed any of her scenes. I don't really think she's very cute or anything. I just think she's obnoxious and a bubblegum crap.
You just have a really bad popitality.
Fuck off.
Popmentality.
I'm gonna kill you.
You're just being a poppy-ny.
I'm gonna make fucking kill you.
You're gonna pop and kill me?
Anyways,
if they used her gimmick like that, that'd be at least a little funny. Like, I'll pop you, dude. That'd be at least that would be kind of funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, like a lot of her scenes are okay. When she's Asuna, so 2 things about her actually. 1, I thought she gave up the Poppy power way earlier than she did in the show, and 2, I thought she gave up the Asuna shit way earlier than she did in the show as well. Oh, that's a thing I fucking forgot. But see, it's weird because when she is just talking like a fucking normal human being in the Poppy costume, it's not bad. But then they have her do that shit that I fucking hate in anime, where they have the girl deliberately make their voice sound cutesy and wootsy, and I'm like, shut the fuck up, Poppy. It's a serious
She
thing.
does the Moe idol shit, and it gets really
It's like,
obnoxious.
Poppy, I'm going to throw you into a fucking river if you don't stop talking. Because holy shit, this person has cancer, lady. Stop talking like that.
Exactly.
But it just. But to be fair, she's not the only character in this show that fucks up with their comedy. But still, like, it's lame. She's a lame character, and I hate to say it like that, but she is just a lame character, especially when they try and give her a quote unquote reason for existing at the end, which doesn't even really come up to anything, anyways. It all just falls flat, and then they make her a villain for like 2 episodes, and then she's just like, oh shit, I just want to play video games, fam. It's like, alright, I guess she's a good guy again.
Yeah.
Because, oh, by the way, she's reset. No, she's not. Oh, she's not? Okay. Whatever.
And then she dies, and then just comes back, because even though we established the fact that Bugsters can just fucking revive themselves for no reason, we have to make a big deal about her being revived, because fuck you.
No. Remember, Jay, Pallad said that if she did the thingy with the gas shed, she wouldn't come back.
Fucking whatever. We all knew she was gonna come back.
I know. It was dumb. The whole thing is dumb. She's possibly the second worst character in this show.
Well, I know who you think the worst character in this show is.
Yeah, you fucking know, but we'll get to that bitch. I guess next we talk about Pallad, because I don't know what to think about. I don't really know.
He didn't really have any reason to be around until after Dan died and became the main villain. He's just kind of there, and mostly just gets overshadowed by Dan. I mean, just the same as everybody else does.
Oh, yeah.
The problem is that, like, he doesn't really have any kind of motivation. He's got a thing with Emu that the show never really goes too in-depth into until later on, which, granted, I think it was really interestingly done, because I remember a lot of people didn't see that coming, even though it's super obvious.
In hindsight, yeah.
He's just kind of like, he's just kind of wants to play video games, and by play video games he means kill humans, but he doesn't really he doesn't actively go out of his way to do anything. He's just kind of there sitting on the sidelines most of the time.
He's waiting for Dan to do things.
Pretty much. He's waiting for Dan or Graphite or random Bugster of the week to do anything.
And it's weird because they try and give him 2 different kinds of characters, where one, he is just a kind of psychotic loony bin who just wants to have fun. Basically what we all thought fucking Jin was going to be in 0-1, ironically enough.
Yeah.
And then they kind of try and give him this whole, like, master race kind of mentality where it's like, oh, us Bugsters really are just great people, and we want to live, and blah, 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 blah. We'll be liberated. You know, basically, once again, fuck humies. Thank you, Horobi.
Yeah.
Fucking, but, like, it comes off as kind of weird, because then, which, even though I still think it's a pretty good scene when he does apologize to Emu, the whole thing where he just suddenly starts becoming afraid of death feels just kind of weird, because it just kind of comes out of nowhere. Like, maybe if they kind of established that a little early on, maybe that'd have been fine. But the way they had him acting at the same time when that happened, it was just like, I don't know, dude.
Here's the thing.
You're coming off all different type of ways.
Here's the thing. I liked the idea of Pallad turns good because, oh, death is fucking awful.
Yeah.
This is what I've been doing to people. And I like that. I like
fucking
that
Horobi
aspect.
again.
I like that aspect.
Oh, shit.
But it shows up way too late in the show to really mean anything. So,
and the thing is, like, if maybe they had set that up, even just kernels of it early on, where it's just like, let's say, for example, he sees somebody die of the game illness, and they're like scared and freaking the fuck out, and Pallad's just like, that's weird. Why the fuck are they acting like that? Like, that would have been more than enough.
It would have been kind of interesting, where he kind of realizes, oh, humans actually like matter, and they have opinions and emotions. Like,
they're
we
scared
do?
of this? What?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like, this isn't a game. Like, I know I want to kill them all, and I want them to stop living, but this is what killing them is? Oh, yeah, I kind of get what you're saying there.
Yeah, exactly. That's the idea that I thought they were like they should have played up on, where he wants to kill them, but he doesn't really know what killing means. And I thought that would have been a great angle for him, but it's like you said, they introduced it so late that it just kind of comes off as, well, we need to make him a good guy for X reason now, so here we go.
Yeah. And that kind of leads into his relationship with Emu, which is honestly really, really well done, more so in the back half when it actually becomes a point, where we find out that Emu's Bugster half is Pallad, which, despite being super fucking obvious, I know for a fact nobody fucking guessed that at all. Everybody was like, oh wow, what the fuck, that's such a surprise. And then like 2 days later we're like, oh wait, yeah, who the fuck else could it have been? What other fucking person in the show could it have been? That makes it's the most obvious answer the entire time. Actually, in front of us.
It's weird because when you mentioned that, watching the show, they actually add a lot of fucking hints to that.
Oh no, it is
they add Pallad knowing Emu's name without ever meeting him. Shit, the biggest thing, Pallad says Daihenshin just like Emu, and that was just like, wait, what the fuck? Why is he saying that? What the fuck? That caught my eye. Like, whoa, shit. Okay, that's a big fucking clue right there.
Yeah, like there's a lot of really clever foreshadowing with it too that I remember nobody fucking picked up on because, again, like I said, the most completely fucking insane shit could happen, and it completely overshadows anything that any other discussion topic. And a lot of the foreshadowing kind of fell to the wayside. And then after the reveal came out, everybody kind of started thinking, I was like, oh yeah, that was super obvious. How did we not see this? And I liked that. I really liked that idea.
It's actually a really interesting idea. I mean, shit, dude. It even goes down to the fact that Pallad's knockout fighter form looks suspiciously a lot like Ex-Aid.
It does.
And that's even beyond like just the eyes. Like, it just looks like Ex-Aid red. It's weird. It's like, wow, what the fuck? That's weird. Holy
Very
shit.
weird.
I don't know why I didn't pick up on that when I first watched it. I was like, oh damn, that's actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that's another thing that I really like about the show is that on a rewatch there are elements that are much worse on a rewatch because I remember,
sure,
oh yeah, this doesn't fucking go anywhere. Oh yeah, this is a waste of time. But there are elements that are way better on a rewatch because there's a lot of subtle little bits that you don't notice necessarily, and I liked that idea. There's a lot of hit my mic. There's an attention to detail that you don't really quite get to notice because you're more just paying attention to what's going on. Like a lot of like the really video gamey stuff. Like they actually put a lot of detail into that, and then you get like a little. They unfortunately drop a lot of it later on, but like there's
but I think we kind of all saw that coming when we got the announcement of that. No,
naturally, of course, but. Like, there's a lot of nice attention to detail with just the fights and the video game elements and how they're incorporated, and a lot of it's kind of not appreciated on the first watch because you're busy, watching the show. Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's weird because, like, I think Pallad as a character could have worked better had they had, I wouldn't say established that he was Emu's Bugster, but had they established there was more of a connection to Emu than there was. Because, like you said, for the most part, he's really just a background character. Once Dan dies, Pallad technically becomes the main villain, sorta. But even then, he doesn't really do anything. It's mostly just Chronicle itself.
Again, he pretty much spells it out immediately. Like, his entire motivation is that he just wants to fight with Emu for the rest of time, basically. And
I want to play video games.
I want to play video games, quote unquote, with you, Emu. Video games meaning smashing my head into the pavement.
Why don't you call me, Emu? I'm trying to play video games with you, Emu. Why don't you call me?
Exactly. And
that's pretty much it.
And I kind of like when he becomes a villain because he's not super entertaining as a villain. He's not really that interesting, but I like the dynamic with him and Emu of just like, I'm just here to fucking fuck with you specifically because you and I are the same person, and I'm just here to have fun with you like you always wanted. It's like, it goes back to, like, I mean, Pallad straight up spells it out. When you were a kid, you were a lonely little piece of shit who made up video games in his head, And now you have a friend to play video games with forever.
And you know
ever.
what? That if they had gone with the, and I know this show probably wouldn't have, but if they had gone with the imaginary friend gone bad bit, I think that would have been a really interesting angle, because they kind of did, but they didn't really explore it as much. Like, Emu was like, oh, when I was a kid, I was lonely and I actually had an imaginary friend, and he just didn't remember the name of the friend because it's Pallad or whatever, and whatever. But I think that would have been an interesting thing, like an interesting little concept that they could have gone with, where like that's why Emu has such a split personality, because eventually the imaginary friend just kind of went away, and he was like, he kind of incorporated parts of that to himself. It would have been interesting, I think.
Yeah, I think that would have been a really neat idea where Pallad. I mean, because again, we find out that Emu got the virus super duper early on in his life, so it would have been really interesting if like, oh, Pallad was there really early on too, where he was like an imaginary friend, and it's like, oh, I kind of remember, I had this friend that I played with. It's like, then he's like, oh, maybe the friend wasn't real. It's like, oh, I was the friend the entire time. I was in your head or whatever. That would have been
or shit. Like you could say like, oh, Pallad was a mature enough Bugster that he could have like formed out, and he maybe just show like an outline of like weird statically digital things and shit like that. But that could have been interesting. I'm like, yeah, that seems like a cool idea to give him more of a connection to Emu, because really, until they revealed that, he really had no other thing other than please kick my ass, Emu.
Yeah, I think that's a little wasted, to be entirely honest. But
and it sucks because I actually do like again, like as I mentioned earlier, I do like his little scene where he's just breaking the fuck down in front of Emu after he realizes what dying is like. I mean, to be fair, that entire little short arc where Emu kills him and he's like, oh shit, this is what dying is. Like, I love that. Like, it's very well done. It's just, I just wish there was more to it.
Yeah, because it comes in like episode fucking 41, 42, I think.
41, I think.
Yeah, and it's so wasted at that point, unfortunately.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it sucks because just like Hiro with his breaking down after his girlfriend died, Pallad breaking the fuck down, I'm just like, holy shit, dude, this actor, I mean, that's something I should say right now. The acting in this show does kind of transcend what Rider shows usually have, and especially with Pallad, dude, like, holy fucking shit. I was like, damn, I feel this guy. Holy fuck.
Oh yeah,
it was good. It was good. I guess now we gotta talk about Kronos. I'm gonna keep calling him Kronos because that makes sense. What the fuck is a Kronos?
Fuck, I looked it up, but I forgot to write it down.
It's bullshit.
Bullshit. Either way, he was a pretty surprising character that he, for starters, became a character at all.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be Axis Man not doing anything.
Yeah, I thought it was just going to be Takami just showing up for a fucking cameo
with a really bad
that fucking speed metal hair for no good reason.
Bro, I remembered. I do not remember that hair looking as bad as it did.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
Oh, it was like, bad. It was really bad.
He has like that poofy bulb hair, and then you put the extensions that are just like completely straight down. It's like, what the fuck, dude?
Like, look, I get you're in prison and all, but they still make you get a fucking haircut in prison. You know that, right? Like, come on. Look, just because you're a rock star in real life doesn't mean you get to be a rock star in prison, dude.
Look, man, his new album's coming out. Anyway, but yeah, it's weird to say it, but I kind of liked him more on the second run through than I did in the first one. I
will say, I'm still kind of surprised that he ended up becoming a character, because he shows up in the Christmas episode was it the episode before? He shows up right before Kiria dies and has absolutely no fucking lines of dialogue. And then he shows up in like right before the episode where Dan dies, and he has one or two lines with Emu, and it's kind of an interesting bit. And it's like, oh, okay, that's fun. Like, yeah, my son's a fucking psycho. You need to stop him. And everybody kind of fucking forgot he existed because he doesn't do anything. And then when they showed off Kronos, whatever the fuck you want to call him, the green guy, everybody because of course that's what we do is we get the leaks. It's like, oh shit, we got a new rider. Who's gonna is this a new rider? Is this a power up or whatever? And then I know because in the description Dan is mentioned. They just say Dan. They don't say Dan Kuroto. They don't say Dan Masamune. They don't say anything. They just say Dan's something something Chronicle. So I think everybody assumed that it was going to be Dan Kuroto, the zombie man who would become Kronos. And then Masamune shows up in the episode that he was set to debut, and it's like, oh, that's right. Yeah, he was a character in the show, wasn't he? He's a pretty he's an interesting villain where you get the idea of like, oh, he's actually not a complete psycho. Whoops, just kidding. I am a complete psycho. He does this bit where he refers to the writers by the name of their games, not their writer forms, not their names of their real names or anything. He refers to them by their fucking power-up form names.
I love it.
It's such a cool gimmick. Like, he'll be there, like, seething, and he'd be like, dangerous zombie, you bastard. It's like, you monster tattle legacy or whatever. Like, I love it. That's such a cool idea. Like, he just treats them, they're products to him. He's just here to keep the game going.
See, it's weird because, like, I kind of wish they didn't make him go psychotic. I liked it better when he was just the plain straight business. And I know you can't do plain straight businessman, but I think you could have done it with him where it's just like, he is the plain straight businessman. He's not doing this because he's evil. He's doing this because, motherfucker, I want to be rich.
Exactly.
I want to be the best at fucking making video games, and I don't care what I gotta do. That's
exactly.
Fine.
It's like he's keeping Chronicle going not because like he wants fucking the big evil monster to show up or he wants to be a god or whatever. He's just here to fucking make money on the game, and that's kind of what it is. But because he's related to Dan, they have to play him up and they have to make him a psycho as well, and it doesn't work as well. Like, the idea of him, like, just referring to the characters as products for him, like, that, for him to shill, basically. They are nothing more but his expendable IP. I like that idea. But then they start to have him go into Crazy Town like Dan did, and they start to ruin it there. And it's a little disappointing.
See, I would have even been okay with him being a little bit flamboyant, where it's like he is still enjoying having the power. That would have been fine. It's just like you said, when they start making him go psycho, it's like, okay, whatever. I think this is going down already.
Yeah. I mean,
especially when he gets the game deals power up, it's like, oh, Jesus.
Oh, that costume's ugly.
Oh, it is.
I mean, granted, it did lead to one of the single best shots from the show, where you've got all the writers and then Nico, not transformed, standing there, and he's just like, "You all understand nothing about video games."
That's like one of my favorite screen caps.
That's my favorite. That's one of my favorite writer images. Oh, that and somebody did fan art of Hyper Muteki and Kronos hitting each other with a golf club. It's like, we'll have a golf competition because golf is, of course, the greatest enemy to Kamen Rider. I love it. My
favorite one is the one where it's just Emu and Mighty Maximum Mighty, where he's just like, I have no time for your race.
Yeah,
because you can use that in such different contexts.
It's very powerful.
It is. Oh, it's too powerful. But yeah, it's weird because like for the first like half of his main villain run, I thought he was great, especially when he first debuted. Holy shit, dude, there is still not a writer debut that has been topped by that. It was too fucking good.
It was a really, really sick debut with the big clock and it opening up and all the lightning and shit and everything going from light to dark, and the fucking time stop shit, of course, is always entertaining.
Oh my god, dude, like, still fucking beautiful debut. Like, I marked the fuck out at that. That was great. And then, but again, it just feels weird because there's just nothing to him after a point. It's just like, all right, well, he's just a calculating game master like Dan or that Kuroda was, but now it's just
he goes through the Dan cycle in about a third of the time Dan does, and somehow does it worse.
Yeah, but again, I can't put that on poor Takami. That poor dude was just like having fun on it.
But again, he's another thing where he's just here. He's just having fun. He's enjoying every single second that he is on screen, and he is playing it up to his heart's content. And I love him for it. And I love his character for it. But that does not make a good TV show when, sure, I enjoy it. That doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah. And sadly, his run as the final big bad was just kind of lame. His whole thing was just lame. When they finally beat him, I didn't care for it, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, but I like the last 3 episodes. I had kind of checked out by that point. I was like, okay, yeah, I remember the final fight here. I know what's gonna happen from here. I'm just like, it's whatever.
Oh my god, they're doing the opening. Oh, I know what that is.
Oh, they're doing the shot from the opening in the final episode because they didn't have a chance to squeeze it in before now. Wow, they've never done this before.
They're doing it, Jay. Oh my god.
They finally did it for no reason. Yeah.
I know what that is.
I clapped because I know what that is.
I clapped because I know Kamen Rider.
Motorcycles.
Game illness. He does a rider kick.
Night scenes that go nowhere.
They say, Henshin, I'm gonna come.
Hironobu Kageyama.
That's God. What a fucking waste of that man's voice to not have him make an insert.
I know,
but
right?
Then again, they had Takayami for 2 inserts, and one of them plays for literally 30 seconds. And you can't even fucking hear it.
You can't even fucking hear it because the audio mixing in this series is fucking
God damn it.
It's not even a problem Ex-Aid has. Kamen Rider just has shit fucking audio mixing.
Oh, I mean, like I mentioned in the server, dude, it went garbage after Gaim.
Oh.
Well, during Gaim, but Gaim onwards, it's it's never gotten better. I guess now we just talk about the last couple of characters, and we just go right into the story finishing. And Nico, I hate her. She's awful. She's disgusting. Get her away from me.
I'm gonna be entirely honest. I like her a lot more on a second watch through than I did on the first watch through.
She's not as bad towards the end, but she makes such a shitty first impression that I just can't get over it. I just don't want her on my screen. She
doesn't have a very good introduction because she just kind of shows up and forces herself into Taiga's plotline, which also forces Taiga into basically replacing Laser after his death, which, granted, I did like Taiga kind of taking up the mantle of Kirya and becoming he's the new protagonist essentially. He's the new one investigating the plot. And it makes sense too because he has a way more of a drive to be investigating this than Kirya did, which I like that idea. But at the same time, like you're saying, she doesn't have a very good introduction because she just kind of shows up and forces herself into his plot line. And it takes a little while for them to start giving her stuff to do. So up to that point, she's just an annoying teenage girl.
She's a brat. And I said it in the server, it only feels like she's there to speed up the inevitable softening of Taiga. It really does feel like she's there just for that.
I don't necessarily think so, because even then, it still does take him a significant amount of time to soften up. Not that he wasn't already a big softie. He was just, he's just pretending because he's a brooding dickhead. That's I think the big thing about it too. But
I just think that they were using her as the excuse to do so. I feel like they would have done it anyways. I feel like he would have ended up the same place he would have ended up at episode 45 if she had never been there. It's just they thought that they needed someone there for him to soften up around. And I'm like, I don't really think you did. I think if you just had him being, let's say, having a mini arc of him treating patients on his own and being like, oh yeah, this is what being a doctor feels like. It's actually really nice. I think that would have been okay. It's just, again, it's a combination of that and having a really bad first impression. Like I don't know if people listening to this understand. Like, it was a really bad first impression that I don't like this character. Like, even towards the end, where I'll admit they did have a bit better of a chemistry towards the end, it didn't really wash the stink of that fucking impression.
See, I would disagree. I don't think that she kind of forced anything of Taiga. I think Taiga was already kind of naturally going down that path, and
yeah,
granted, he didn't really need a sidekick, but I don't hate her. She's annoying early on, but she honestly starts getting better earlier on, and I think I really like their dynamic. I really like the playoff they have with each other, where she's kind of like... she's basically forcing herself to be his assistant against his will, and they play off a little. She's basically doing his job for him a lot of the points, and it annoys him because he's trying to be the brooding loner type who's like, he's going on the secret investigations, and he's got this fucking teenage girl next to him screaming and shouting like a goddamn spaz and doing his job for him and ruining his cool. And I like that, and they build up a natural relationship with each other, and I kind of like how they play off of each other. It's like Taiga does genuinely care for Nico, even though he thinks she's an annoying piece of shit, and Nico for basically only showing up so she can force him to kill Emu for basically incredibly petty reasons.
Even though she's a fucking millionaire.
Yeah,
apparently.
she's a fucking millionaire pro gamer, which I don't believe at all. Fucking not even fucking Daigo's that rich, guys. Come on. No, but yeah, she's a fucking millionaire pro gamer, and her entire motivation for joining the plot is Emu beat me in a fucking Tekken tournament 6 years ago, and I'm still mad about it, and I want him
fucking
dead.
Salty about it.
Exactly.
You see, you know what would have helped if we had gotten the Nico from... I'm trying to think. From after the first time she got the game virus onward, I don't think I would have disliked her as much. I think I would have been a little bit softer. It's just, again, it's like that first impression just got me really bad.
I will agree. Her initial introduction to the show is not particularly great.
It stung too much for me to be like, all right, whatever. Like, it was to the point where I'm just like kind of just like tuning her out. It doesn't help that the show, for some reason, wanted to make her and Poppy a comedy thing, and I'm just like, no, don't do that.
Yeah,
that's not something you should do.
No,
but again, I will agree in the sense that because like I said, Taiga was always going to go down that path. I had no reason not to think that, and I do agree. Like, towards the end, it was a nice little thing where like, oh look, Taiga's actually showing concern for someone, like legitimate concern, where he's like. He's almost like crying at her bed, where he's like, "Oh shit, I don't want this chick to die." I like that because it helps. Again, I shouldn't say soften up because that sounds negative, but I know you know what I mean when I say.
No, I get what you're trying to say here. Yeah,
and I like that for the most part. I just think had they had her personality not be that abrasive, I don't think it would have been as bad, at least for me.
And on my first watch through, I agree with you where I kind of didn't really like her because, again, she did have that kind of negative introduction, and she doesn't really start adding much until Chronicle becomes a part of the plot. But
which is just weird.
Yeah, but on a second watch through, maybe it's because, again, I kind of remember how she becomes later, or maybe it's because I'm noticing things that I didn't notice that that kind of got buried, but I ended up liking her more early on, up until, again, introduction aside, I ended up liking her way earlier than I ended up liking her on a first watch through. I mean, I actually enjoy her scenes for the most part. I mean, she's not great or anything, but I do like her. I do think she's a decent character. She does add something to the plot, but I don't hate her, especially not as much as I did when I first watched the show.
Again, I just don't think she really ever was able to wash off that stink completely. At least for me, because again, for me, if a character has a really, really bad first impression, it's really hard for them to make up for it. And I don't think they gave her enough to really make up for it. I mean, yeah, again, I do agree. Like, I do like their relationship with Taiga, and I thought towards the end it was really nice. it's just, again, once you have a debut like that, it's just kind of hard for me to be like, all right, whatever, I guess.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, but I don't necessarily agree in this instance. I think
you don't dislike her as much as I do. Basically.
I don't dislike her as much as I do because I think she's able to pull herself out of that slump earlier than you feel that she does. But I get what you're trying to say, and I agree with you.
Was the game illness that far into her introduction?
Because she steals his belt and gets the virus like the episode after she shows up.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. Like that was where I thought. Like after that, that's where I thought she started getting a bit better. Because like after that, she's like,
I thought you were talking about
the Game Days one.
No, not the Game Days one. I thought you were talking about like mid-20s, early 30s when she gets it from Chronicle. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh shit, that's right. She gets it 3 fucking times.
She does.
Holy fuck, dude!
How the fuck do you get the same disease 3 times in a row? Wait a second. Never mind.
At that point, there's got to be some antibodies, man, or you just have a really bad immune system.
Ugh. I mean, she's a pro gamer. She probably does.
Oh, that's true. Pro gamers aren't known for their pro immune systems. No, but I meant the first time she gets it. That's probably where we were getting confused. I meant the first time she got it.
Yeah, that's what I think. I guess that makes a little more sense now that you say that, because that's kind of how I feel, is that early on, I remember when I first watched the show, I fucking hated her for a good chunk of the show up until like right near the end. But rewatching it now, I'm noticing way more stuff that I did like. But yeah, no, now that you say that, it's the first time that you enjoyed it, that had happened to her. Okay, yeah, that makes a little more sense. Now I'm kind of starting to get what you're saying there.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me. And I guess the last couple of characters, I mean, does Graphite even fucking matter?
Not
Besides
really.
the plot, does it even matter? And then Hiro's dad was just lame. And I feel bad because I kind of like some of the scenes with Hiro's dad, but Jesus, dude, calm the fuck down. And I guess from there, we just talk about some certain things with the story at this point. Mainly because of the fucking pacing. Because Jesus Christ, Jay, this show was on fast fucking forward.
Oh, it certainly was. More so during like the back half of the show, because the first half of the show, from episode 1 up to I think it's like episode 22 or so, when Dan dies. It's a pretty basic Monster of the Week formula where, Fortnite rather. That's usually how it was. No, it was very much still a Monster of the Week show. They didn't really.
It kind of went back and forth sometimes.
It did. The show it's a very standard kind of Monster of the Week format where character A gets the virus and they get the virus, and here comes the monster, and the monsters are trying to make people super stressed out because that's going to kill them, because whatever. So they can become real boys, and the writers have to stop the virus, and they have to figure it out. And it's pretty formulaic for the most part. And up until when Dan becomes an out-and-out villain, it's not that entertaining at all. It's super just kind of boring. Because there's an overarching plot of, like I said, we gotta kill one Bugster for each game, and whoever clears all 10 games will become Super Duper Ultra Doctor. Why? How? What does this accomplish? It's not important, because it ends up being a fucking lie anyways that Dan was making up, so he could power his Super Duper Ultra game. It's a very standard show up until then. It's not a whole lot to really write home about, other than like the episodes themselves aren't super entertaining. Like there's a couple of fun episodes, like I don't want to say they're fun, but there's a couple like standout episodes, like the one with the guy who's kind of being a big bitch because it's like, oh, well, I don't want to actually die because of the game virus because I have cancer anyways. And it's like that one was kind of weird because like he's really like bitching about it super hard, but then like also he's kind of exaggerating, but he kind of isn't, and it's kind of weird. it's a weird episode. I kind of like it because it's a moment where it has a moment where Emu kind of gives Hiro the spotlight, and it kind of changes Hiro's perception of Emu a little bit. And it's fun. It's fun for that moment, but other than that, a lot of like the Monster of the Week type episodes just aren't really all that interesting.
I mean, the only one that really stands out to me, and that's because it isn't even technically a Monster of the Week episode, is the Bergamon episode.
Yeah,
but that's because of the fucking ending.
Yeah, the ending where they, of course, as always, they have the monster that turns good, and then they kill the monster that turns good.
I mean, again, that ending was just perfectly done.
Oh yeah,
in all sorts of ways. But it's like you said, like it's the pacing up to when Dan dies was just bleh. It was just kind of bleh. And then as soon as that happens, like we said, it just presses the fast forward button and it doesn't let us stop. And while it does work for some things, other things it just feels like the writer was just like, all right, I just gotta get this in my show. All right, we're done with that. All right, gotta get this into my show. Oh, we're done with that. And it fucks him over in the end because I don't know if you felt like this, Jay, but this show ended 4 fucking times. And it just never wanted to let itself die at that point.
It kind of did, where again, the show is pretty much like the plot is kind of resolved when Dan dies for the most part. It's like, okay, well, we stopped Dan, we stopped his evil scheme. All right, the show's over. Everybody's kind of resolved, and like, oh, okay, never mind, we're back. And I wouldn't say it necessarily like 4 times. It definitely happens a little bit when the plot shifts halfway through with Chronicle and everything. But I think the problem is that the plot shift does cause the problem of I don't have enough time to really get everything else done too, especially with bringing Dan back, which I know Takahashi and Imanaga have said was not intended. Dan was not supposed to come back during the later half of the show.
It's very much obvious.
It's very much obvious, and much like with Gaim, I kind of wonder what the show would have been like had he not come back, because there's a lot of stuff that impacts that Dan's revival impacts on the show. So either way, and then you get the stuff with fucking Masamune and then Game Deus and all this other crap. And
honestly, the whole Game Deus thing was complete. I know because they already established it, but it was completely unnecessary.
No, it really wasn't necessary. It's like, we need the game to have a final boss because it's a video game. Why the final boss isn't just Cronus, I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's whatever, because we need to have
because it doesn't even fucking do anything anyways.
No, he shows up, gets a bunch of people sick, and then fucking jobs out and merges with Masamune for no real reason.
And again, it's that thing where it's like, all right, we beat Kronos because we have Muteki. Oh no, but now he has reset. Okay, so now we beat Kronos again. Okay, well now Game Deus is here. Oh, well, we'll beat Game Deus. Okay, well then it's over, right? No, Kronos comes back and now he's Game Deus. What the fuck?
Exactly.
Leave me alone. I just want to go to bed.
The fucking reset episode was kind of dumb because like resetting it didn't change anything. All it did was just get rid of Muteki. That's all it fucking changed.
So, no, okay. So, I'm so happy you brought this up, Jay, because now it's my time to bring this in. Oh, God. Because here's the problem with the reset in general. The problem with the reset is that it fucking cherry picks what it's resetting. It doesn't. They never establish, is it a geographical reset where it's only in Japan? Is it a full-on people reset where your mind gets reset? Is it is it just the writers? Is it
they
just
say
the
that it resets the state of the game, but what game? The fucking game of Chronicle? But what the fucking parts of that game it affects doesn't matter, because like, oh, Masamune had stolen everybody's belts. Oh, they just get their belts back. Oh, everybody had their trophies, except never mind, they still have their trophies, even though they should have lost them.
Exactly. No, see, because if it were to be reset to the beginning of Chronicle, and if it was a legit reset, Poppy would still be evil, Dan would still be dead, Kitty wouldn't be here, Level 100 wouldn't be around, and I think, if I remember correctly, fucking fucking Dan wouldn't be around either. Well, I just said Dan. Masamune wouldn't be out of jail. Like, so much of this is just like, and I get it. I know why it happened. It's so fucking obvious why it happened. Because Takahashi wrote himself into a fucking corner. He didn't need, he thought he had 5 episodes left to fill, and he's like, shit, I can't end it here. I need something to extend it just a little bit more. And it's like, you didn't need to do that. You didn't need to do that, because then when you introduce something like a time reset, you better reset everything, or it just seems like you're just cherry picking, and it just comes off as fucking dumb.
Exactly. If it was more like Time Vents from Ryuki, where everything gets reset, except everybody kind of remembers what's going on, that would have been more interesting. But as it is, it's just kind of like, it feels unnecessary.
It is 100% unnecessary, because again, he only did it because he couldn't end the show at episode 39. He knew that. He knew he couldn't do that. And then, even then, once he introduces the reset, it doesn't matter anyways, because the very next episode, they have a way to fucking combat it. So it's like, what's the point, dude? Like, there's literally no point to this. It just comes off as, I'm sorry to say it, but it comes off as legitimately really fucking lazy.
Yeah.
Ugh. And that's kind of the biggest problem with most of the show, though, because, like, it feels like Takahashi he had the idea to make a show that didn't bullshit around. It's like, you know what? You guys just had to spend 50 fucking episodes with Ghost. Nothing fucking happened. They all just bullshit the entire show. I'm going to give you a show that is just all engines going, no matter what, no stopping, boom, 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 boom. And on paper, that's awesome. But then you start seeing certain things in the show that aren't given the time to breathe. And it's like, why wouldn't you give that time to breathe if you don't have anything for them afterwards? You know what I mean? It's like, it's like giving you the last course in a 6-course meal, like first. And it's like, why would you skip to that? You have to build up to that. And if you don't, it just kind of comes off as you just want to get us the fuck out of your house. And it's weird. It's weird because it just feels like he didn't really know what he wanted to do at a certain point. And he just, I don't know. It's fucking weird, dude.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely feels like he got burned out. He ran out of ideas. I mean, he wrote the show entirely by himself. Everything. Every movie, every episode, every little DVD special, the Hyper Battle video.
Fucking insane, man.
The book, I am pretty sure he wrote himself. I don't know how, because it's totally awful, but that's nothing new for Kamen Rider.
That's what happens when you're burnt the fuck out, dude.
Yeah, like, every single thing was done by him, by himself. Nobody else helped. And it really shows, especially once you get to, like, Kronos' debut, because he is burned the hell out, and he's super out of ideas, and he just doesn't know what the fuck he wants to do with the show. I'm almost surprised that they even let him do it, especially a literal nobody like him. I'm pretty sure the last time they ever let a writer do an entire show solo by themselves was like fucking 5-man, I think. And
Shit.
there's a reason why they don't let anybody do that anymore. It's because 5-man was the last show they let them do that on. Yeah, it's kind of surprising, honestly, that they did let him just write everything by himself, and unfortunately, it ends up impacting the ending, because by that point, he was just so fucking out of ideas and just didn't know what the fuck he wanted to do anymore, that it just kind of starts spiraling out of control. And thankfully, the show ends early enough where it doesn't fully go into a death spiral. You start to see the makings of one, but thankfully the show is mercifully taken off the air right before it gets really, really bad. Oh.
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I just feel like had he, and again, I don't know if it was Toei that made him do this, but had he been allowed to end it at episode 39, I think the show would have been a lot better, honestly. I think you would have been okay because, of course, I don't know if Toei would want their final form to be fucking introduced in the last episode. But still, you introduce a final form that literally cannot die or be hurt by anything. There's really no other ways to combat that, you know? Just let it happen. Just let it end, basically. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. You don't need more than 39 episodes sometimes.
No. I think it would have been better if it ended a little shorter because then
it would have been interesting. Honestly,
it would have been interesting. You can space everything out a little bit more.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing, dude. Like, it's the fact that he just didn't allow certain things to just breathe. Like when Pallad died, next episode he came back. When Brave heel turn, next episode he's already kind of showing that he doesn't want to do this. What was the other one? Shit, there were so many little things that were just like, why are you not letting this settle in? Or like when Dan had this whole thing with his mom, like the whole mom thing, that got like what, 2 episodes maybe, and then
pretty much
it just stopped. Like that's the biggest problem with Ex-Aid is just it wants to keep going at a fucking Formula One pace. But you don't need to. It's okay to take your time. Honestly, if they started some of the shit that they started in episode 12 and like episode 7-ish, I think you would have had more than enough time.
Yeah, I think the problem is that I think Takahashi was also trying to keep the high that the show had been on up to that point going, and that kind of screwed him over because... I mean, look, and I don't know how we neglected mentioning it before now. You can't fucking top making Y2K an unironic part of your show's backstory.
Yeah.
Like, how the you cannot go any crazier than making fucking Y2K a plot point in a show made in 2016. It's not possible. It's just not possible. And that's kind of the problem, is that it does reach a point where he's topped himself too much that nothing can just...
He basically writes himself into a corner.
More or less. I'm more saying that he gets to a point where he's not able to top himself. He can't come up with anything better than he had before, and that starts a slow decline because now he's just throwing out ideas, seeing what stick.
Yeah, and see, that's the saddest part, because like, even if he didn't even try topping himself, if he just tried keeping that consistent level, you would have had a perfectly good show on your hands. Like a legitimately perfectly good show on your hands that you don't need to top yourself. Just keep it at that same level. That's perfectly fine.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
It's sad because I really wanted to like this show more. I'm not saying it's bad. Before someone comes at me, I'm not saying it's bad. I just wanted to like the show more. I just wish it just let itself breathe. You know, it just, calm down. Let's take a second. Let's let this shit kind of, build up. I mean, shit, dude. Fucking Poppy dies in episode, like the episode before, and comes right back.
Yeah.
Pallad dies the episode before and comes right back, and it's like, can we not have at least just given a fucking second, dude? Like, come on. Or shit, the whole reset thing again, where literally the next episode, we beat you because we have saves now. Oh, all right. Or one of the more egregious ones was when Taiga went to fight Game Deers by himself, and was like, oh shit, dude, what the fuck? We can't get him. We gotta get to him. And Dan's just like, I can just make a cheat code.
It's like, yeah, why don't we, like, okay, cool, whatever. And that was another thing, too. It's like, they made a big deal about Taiga becoming Kronos, and then he fucking jobs out. And
he's Kronos for,
he's Kronos for, like 2 minutes, and then gets his fucking ass handed to him.
Taiga, please, I know you're a tertiary writer, but fuck.
Ugh. Come on, you don't have to force yourself into being that role. Come on, man.
You don't have to force yourself to be a jobber this bad.
I know.
Are we neglecting anything else right now?
I don't think so. I don't think about it.
I mean, besides that, I mean, before we get to our final thoughts, I mean, suits were nice. I can say
the
that.
The suits are still. Oh my god. Okay, I don't know how I completely forgot about this. The suits are still very divisive with some people.
Are they now?
I know certain individuals did not like the suits at all and did not want to be involved with the show.
Damn.
Which
I
is
wonder who could be so petty.
I wonder who could be so petty. Heat metal. Yeah.
Oh, that's weird, Jay. We're not talking about double right now.
No, we're not. No.
That's so
no,
strange.
overtime. No.
I mean, I do work overtime, but Jesus, Jay.
Yeah, I mean, either way, yeah. Honestly, you know what? That was another thing where I think a lot of people were expecting. That was kind of an interesting aversion of what we all expected, where overtime was like, this show looks gay, we're not doing it. And everybody immediately went into fucking panic mode, because it had only been like 2 or 3 years since Gaim happened. And we all remember what happened with Gaim. And so...
Yeah, the greatest bit in fucking Toku history.
One of the most insane experiences, not just in Tokusatsu, but in fan subbing history since
it was fucking beautiful.
Since like the fucking early 90s.
We gotta bring it back, Jay.
We should. And then it's like, here comes some literal Who's Ex-Aid, and like, oh, we're just gonna do it. And their subs were good. Their subs were pretty good. I mean, you could tell they were kind of beginners at it.
Pretty good.
Especially, you know, looking back on it, I can see there's a lot of points where they definitely could have made fixes, but
yeah.
I'm personally still mad that they fucking ghosted us after we asked to do an interview for them, and they still continue to ghost us. Yes, I'm still upset about that. No, I'm not an insane person. I am. I'm fucking... I'm tired, dude. I want to go to bed.
It's 3 in the afternoon.
Exactly.
It is 3 in the afternoon. People are trying to sleep.
Exactly. This, but unironically.
But yeah, like it was such a weird time. Honestly, dude, that kind of just... Well, actually, you know what? I'll let you finish and then I'll go on my final thoughts first.
But yeah, that's that's kind of that's why Ex-Aid is as fondly remembered by certain people as it is, because the state of the fan base and the experience of the show at the time was so wild that it was impossible to stay just to ignore it, because it just, the most insane shit was happening, both with fans, with the show itself, with just the material surrounding it. I mean, for fuck's sake, they had a movie where the main villain was fucking Pac-Man, and that was in like the first fourth of the show, and it only got crazier from there. That's the kind of show this is. And then they did.
If I could describe it in a way that some people would think of it, it's like, think of mid-98 Monday Night Raw. You don't know what the fuck's gonna happen.
Exactly.
You could go to a show and see the best show in the world, or someone's gonna take their fucking top off, or someone's gonna be fighting in the parking lot. You don't fucking know.
It was
You're
like
just fucking hype.
Exactly. It was like the Monday Night Wars. You don't fucking know what's gonna happen next week.
Did you say Monday?
Yeah, shut up. You're gonna Monday, you bitch.
Oh.
Anyways,
go on.
it was like, yeah, the Monday Night Raw. The fucking shit.
It has not been a good day for you.
No. Anyways, it was like then, where you didn't know what was going to happen next week. You don't know what's going to happen an hour from now. You don't know what's going to happen in the next 10 seconds. You're just along for the most insane ride of your life. And that's why Ex-Aid was as popular and as fondly remembered as it was. And looking back on it, outside of that hype, outside of that bubble, it's an interesting experience seeing how much of it holds up and how much of it was just because of the hype of, one, just the most baffling shit happening, and two, the fact that we weren't watching Ghost anymore.
Yeah, that's the thing.
because I've talked about this before. You know, I've talked with people who watched Ex-Aid when it was airing, and they think it was the dopest shit and the hypest shit. And I've talked with people who didn't watch it when it was airing, who didn't have that experience that I did and other people did, and they're like, that's all right, or they don't like it, or you know, they think it looks stupid and they don't care about it. And it's an interesting comparison there, and I think that's really what drives a lot of the opinions of Ex-Aid is where you were during its airing.
God, that really does just slap of wrestling, doesn't it?
It does.
Man, Toku really does mirror wrestling a lot.
It really does now, doesn't it?
It does, because it's like, the way you say that, it's like, yeah, you would never understand what the Attitude Era would be like if you were not there, you know? Fuck, dude, that's weird. I guess what are our final thoughts? I guess I'll go first. As Jay said, it was a really interesting experiment for me, especially coming into this show, because I remember fucking loving this show. I thought it was perfect. Nothing was bad about it. Everything was great. Perfect. But now rewatching it out of the hype, just sitting down, watching it for a review 5 years later, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. I thought it was still good. Not great, but it's not shit. It's not bad. It's not crap. It's just good. It's good. It's an enjoyable ride from beginning to end, but there's little things in here and out there that just kind of take you out of it. It's honestly, I did a tier list not too long ago of these shows, and it kind of fits perfectly where it's supposed to be, on basically B, not B plus, not B minus, just a B. And it's weird because watching this show is legitimately one of the most experimental shows that we've ever had. It goes from the writing, the music, the gimmicks, basically the theme of the show, to the costumes of the show. I mean, like Jay said, people are still really fucking divisive on those shows to this day, even though I still think Dangerous Zombie has not been topped by pretty much any suit. Like, it's just a very crazy show to think of back. And even, you know, and again, I was there, Jay was there when Ex-Aid was around. We remember that shit, you know, and taking myself out of that bubble and just putting myself in the bubble of, this show exists by itself, nothing else exists, I want to just look at this as objectively as I can. I thought it was still just fine. It's not perfect, but I thought it was still good. It was still a good show, and I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. It's a B, not B minus, not B plus, just a B. Perfectly good. I wouldn't say start with this fucking show because you'd be fucking confused. Oh my god! But imagine someone's first show is fucking Ex-Aid. God,
I would say that's almost as bad as starting with Kuga, except
dude.
You know what? I was talking about this last night with somebody, and I came to the realization that, like, starting with Kuga is like starting Lord of the Rings with the fucking Silmarillion. Sure, you can do it. Sure, there are people who are crazy enough to say you should, but it's so drastically different than everything else you're getting into. You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah, again, this is not a starter-friendly show. Like, this is not a Drive or an Agito or anything like that. No. But if you've already got a few shows under your belt, pun intended, I say go for it. I say, well, you can watch it. Go for it, dude. It's perfectly good that you can watch, and I think you will enjoy. I don't think it's perfect, but I think it's good enough to be like, I got nothing else to do on a Friday afternoon, so let's put this on.
Pretty much.
Jay, I'm going to give it to you then.
Yeah, I'm very much of the same mind. It's interesting looking back on this show and kind of dissolving the hype that I used to have for it. And I don't think it's a bad show. Again, I agree. It's still a good show. That was kind of the thing I was dreading going into this, is, like, oh, this was not actually a good show. But that's usually the experience I have when I rewatch stuff. I was pleasantly surprised at how much of it did hold up, but I was super surprised at how much did not hold up at all.
Oh.
It is... A lot of the early episodes are not good at all, and it is a genuine slog to get through. Again, as we discussed, like the second it hits episode 12 is when it really gets good. It's not like terrible. It's just it sets you up for a completely different show than you think it's going to be, because you've got the obnoxious fucking pointless comedy stuff, and you've got really just obnoxious characters and boring plots that don't go anywhere. And the gimmick it's hard to get into. The gimmicks, the big fucking fat monster suits they have before they become the riders, and the god-awful CG, which sucked back then, is somehow even worse nowadays. I don't know how that was possible.
Oh, jeez.
It's interesting. But I think it was pretty. I think it's a pretty good show. I definitely enjoy Ex-Aid. I definitely think I agree that it is not a good beginner show. I like the cast for the most part. The cast has their flaws, but I think they all work. I think everybody plays off each other really well. For the most part, it's a problem that a lot of shows have, where they kind of learn what characters work together and what don't. So when they try to mix it up, the show doesn't really work at all. Like, oh, excuse me. Oh, that doesn't feel good. Anyways, as I was saying, the show definitely has its missteps early on, more so later on, as we discussed. But I think once you hit like episode 10 or so is when the show really starts getting good, because that's, again, like I said, that's when Dan's like, I'm a super villain. Ha ha ha. I'm here having fun. And that's when the show starts becoming super entertaining. It's not as good as I remember it being. It's still pretty good. It still holds up for the most part. It's not as good as I remember it being when I first watched it, though.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a thing that if you watch it now, I think that's going to be a thing that a lot of people are going to think now, especially with the advent of so many other shows and how Toei's basically releasing every other show now on their fucking YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of shocked we didn't mention the fucking fanny pack drivers.
Ugh.
Do you remember when the show was first teased and we thought for some reason it was going to be placed in the fucking like 80s?
Well, everybody thought it was going to be like late 80s, early 90s because of all the fucking neon colors and the video game aesthetic with the game cartridges and everything.
Honestly, dude, that would have been really fucking cool.
It would have been fun. It would have been really fun, honestly, if we had a retro throwback character.
I don't know why. Excuse me. I don't know why Ryder doesn't do that. Like, I mean, I kind of get why, but I kind of wish
they did it with Kiva, and Kiva fucking failed miserably.
Yeah, but that's because Kiva was fucking shit.
That's fair enough.
It was shit. Damn it. Anyways, so we're not doing build next. That's until after Saber. So don't worry about that. So either way, we're gonna spin the wheel. Wheel.
It's the wheel. You're at Disney World at the wheel.
What are you, Hamsar?
Yes.
Yeah, that's a fucking D-list reference. Yeah.
It's fucking Z-list at this point. But
I'm old.
You and me both. We're not as old as Phil.
No, that's true. Well,
you're gonna hear this and you get so mad.
Well, you know what? I'm kind of... You know what? This was a fun experience. This was a fun experiment. I hope next time we do a show that I have seen before and haven't seen in a while, and I get to have this kind of experience over again to see... Do my memories of the show.
Oh my god, it's build!
Oh, fuck.
No,
you just said we were going to do build, though.
No, we're not.
Jackass, you liar.
Scared you, didn't
charlatan.
I, motherfucker?
I mean, hey, I'd be down for it. I'd be down for it.
Well, we'll do that after Saber, because build is, remember correctly, is like 47 episodes.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty long.
It's a pretty fucking long. I'm not fucking doing that shit. Not right now, at least. What the fuck is this? Hold on.
Oh, that is always a good...
I gotta zoom in on this. Variable Nymphit Knights. This isn't a porno, is it?
What the fuck did you just say to me?
This isn't a porno. Give me a second. Hold on. It's 20 episodes. Let me see. Tokupedia. What is this? It's from Subaraya.
Oh. Hang on, link
Bunny.
that shit.
Bunny Nights. That's what it's called. Oh, okay. Here's a picture of it, Jay. Here you go. If fucking my computer will ever stop being a bitch. Here you go.
Oh. Okay.
And it does have subs. I don't know how old. Wait, what is it? Oh, 2019. Okay, so it's not that old. But it looks like it was subbed by some dude in his basement. So, next week!
Well,
Variable Nymphit Nights.
all right.
Well, we always like doing new shit. Oh, wait. Metallic subs.
Oh,
That's
cool. That's good. That means they're at least halfway decent quality, especially if they're older.
Just watch. It's like their first one. It's gonna be like fucking pixelated as shit. Well, actually, it says right here. No, that's not a plot synopsis. Where the fuck is the plot synopsis? There's no plot synopsis of this show.
Oh God.
Oh, that's not a good. That is not a good sign. Oh shit.
Not a good sign. No.
Wait, is there not a plot synopsis fucking anywhere? IMDb? No. What the fuck? Drama list? Let me see.
Well,
what the fuck? There is nothing talking about. Oh my god. There's no one talking about this show.
No, nobody's talking about this show. No.
There's only one thing I found. It's a tweet with a gif of the costumes, and that's it.
Well,
if
it's Subaraya, that means this definitely isn't porn. So we're safe there.
I mean, we don't know.
I mean.
Oh, here we go. I found something. 3 girls transformed into bunny-inspired warriors, pink, orange, and navy. Their outfits were white, but their blue eye visors and underskirts are different colors. That's not a plot synopsis, asshole! That's just describing the suits! Alright, now I'm definitely getting into...
I guess that's what the show is about.
Now I'm definitely getting into porno category because it's like Meteor Rangers. No, this might not be porno. Meteor Rangers. Is that the big one or what the fuck is name?
Hang on. Let me see.
Big one, the rainbow dude, the one that Zenkai is based off of.
No, I mean, it's definitely somebody being like, this is big one at home.
Big one under the bed, dude. Yeah. Anyway, this is starting to get into porno category, but I might put some of these on the list. I'm just saying.
Oh Jesus!
I'm just kidding. Some of these are actually already on the list. Scary enough. So yes, next week it's only 20 episodes, so it's pretty short. That's a good thing.
Oh, thank fucking Christ!
Next week we are doing Variable Nymphant Nights. I don't know what the fuck I'm in for.
I swear to God.
It's gonna be like a really bad porno.
You know what? It
it's
probably
like exploitation.
Will. You know what? Fine. Whatever. I'd be fine with it.
Actually, Jay, before we end off, I mean to ask you this question again. What do you think of the idea that I had the other day?
What was that one again? Remind me.
So basically, my idea was because I already have like 4 or 5 we could do. It's called I mean, there's no real name for it, but it's basically we could just do a Tokusatsu grab bag of just random pilots that I can find, and then and ones that are just pilots, not full series afterwards. Because I actually found one.
Like Super Fire and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be pretty... You know what? Yeah, that'd be pretty fun.
We could do like 5 or 6 of them and watch them all, record our thoughts on them, and see which one's the best. Oh, shit, what we could do... Because there was another one I found. It's only 8 minutes, but it's apparently a canceled Riku Sanjo. No, it's not a Sanjo. It's a Koichi Sakamoto. It's a canceled Koichi Sakamoto pilot.
Oh, what was it called?
Oh, shit. Let me get the notepad. I think it was Gunblade.
Oh, I've heard of Gunblade. That movie, is it a movie? I think it was a movie.
No, it's like an 8-minute pilot, dude.
Gunblade. Hang on, I'm gonna look up a picture because I think I'm. Oh yeah. Oh, I know this dude. This is good. Dude's fucking sick.
Oh, okay, so I hope this is actually pretty good then.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, we might do that for July because July is the anniversary month of ours. So we might just do that for shits and giggles.
Fair enough.
Depending on whether or not the Olympics actually does shit on Saber, which I hope it does. Again, I don't believe it will, but I hope it does. We might have to do Saber in July. Which Jay, I feel bad for you. You thought you had until August, motherfucker.
Oh well.
You might as well just do that thing that L does in Death Note and just have like 16 screens. Just watch.
God, I fucking wish I could.
Oh, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Wait.
It would make doing this show a lot fucking easier.
Wait a fucking second.
Oh
my God.
What?
I hope this isn't a troll because I'm trying to figure out who the fuck wrote this Vanny Night show. I hope this isn't a troll.
Oh, no.
I'm not going to tell you who is in this, but
okay.
it's somebody very great is going to be in this show.
Is it Mark Musashi?
No, it's not. Well, I mean,
damn it.
I'm not speaking of him. I don't know if he is in this show or not. I wouldn't be surprised, but
just watch.
That is not who I am talking about in this instance.
I am scared, and he's in the show, or they are in the show. You're saying
according to this list that I found that lists only him and nobody else. He is in the show, so we'll see.
Oh shit! Okay, I'm excited now. Oh shit! So yeah. With that being said, we are done with Ex-Aid. We're going to I don't know what the fuck's the point. I don't know. I was gonna say close the book, but that's gonna be for Saber.
Yeah.
We're gonna pull the fucking cartridge out while the console is still on to break your fucking video game. And the next time
let's tilt the cartridge a bit. Yeah. You know what? I'm surprised they never did any jokes about cartridge tilting in this show.
That would have been
like
amazing. I mean, shit. I mean, Ex-Aid stopped doing it, but a few times some of the characters actually blew on the cartridges.
Yeah, like I know Snipe did it once or twice. That was fun.
That was fucking great.
Yeah.
But yeah, so next time we do this will be for Build, and not having high hopes, I'll say, because I remember a lot more of Build than I remember of Ex-Aid, and let's hope those are false memories.
Yeah, let's fucking hope.
So, with that being said, as always, I'm AJ. That's Jay.
Bye.
And we'll see you all for Vagina Nights.
Vanny Nights. Panty Nights.
That does sound pornographic, no matter how you say it.
Oh yes, it does. It looks like it's porn. It looks like
a
it is.
20-episode porno, though?
Listen, dude. There have been some weird shit in Japan, alright? I mean, it's not quite hentai so well animated, it bankrupted the company that created it, but I mean, that would be a great second, to be entirely honest.
Wouldn't that be great if this was like the most expensive tokusatsu porno that they've ever made?
It's like at one
come
point
back here and be like, well, guys, we saw the greatest porno ever made.
I'd be down for it. You know what? If it was literally just a 20-episode long porno, I'd be fucking down for it.
Just the sheer fact that we could come here and say, well, you can't say we don't watch all the tokusatsu.
You can't say that we don't talk about things you've never heard of. So
because fucking go watch Vanny Nights.
Nobody's heard of this.
I'm gonna have to tell Phil to go watch this. Oh wait, that's right. He doesn't know how to use torrents, so fuck it.
No, that's fine. I found a mega with it. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, there's a mega? Are you serious?
Yeah. Metallic subs are up on a mega.
Oh, fucking based. Okay.
Oh, there's one episode that's 32 minutes long randomly. Oh, that's always a good sign.
What?
Oh yeah, These fucking episode lengths. There's one that's like 24. There's one that's 22. There's one that's 38 fucking minutes.
Oh, dude, that was just because they didn't have the fluffer on stage. They had to manually do it on set.
All right.
This is gonna be a fucking trip. All right, guys. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.